Hi, everybody. Welcome to FNS Wrestling Podcast, episode 238. It is Saturday, February 8th. We're back down in the basement to talk about another week of professional wrestling. Going to be cutting it close this week. Your brothers in a tournament again. Won their one last weekend in their own age group, so they AAA, the highest they could be in that tournament. Smashed everybody, so we went up a year in this one. So the first game went to double overtime, still won. Pretty exciting game, but we're a little late starting, so we're going to try and get to everything. We're going to quickly talk about Royal Rumble. We'll talk about AEW Dynamite. We'll try to talk about Raw and NXT with some trivia and some news, time permitting, maybe an abridged version. I think we've said that before and it's never happened, so we'll see if it actually happens. Discussion-wise, I guess the big thing to talk about, because we were ahead of a big weekend last weekend, I did go to Sarah Silverman with my friends. It was good, not great, I would say. Didn't realize the tour was called Postmortem, so it was a lot of her making jokes about the lingering death of her father. So it was like, she's very smart and writes great jokes, but it was like, to get to the punchline, you had to get through some darkness pretty regular.
Okay, that's fair then.
Right. So, but had a great time because I was with some of my high school buddies, went out for dinner first. And then the next day, the day of Royal Rumble, we went down and watched an indie show, right, ahead of it. So when we talk about Rumble, it will be from the point of view of us sitting among probably like 100 or more people in a bar or restaurant watching it. So that was an interesting experience.
That was fun.
Yeah. The indie show was really good.
I really liked it. Yeah, there was that triple threat was really good, which was what Blackwood.
Oh yeah, Kevin Blackwood.
No,
other people.
No, I didn't see.
Two others.
Oh, it was Hotch. Hotch was in that.
Right,
And
Jason
Hotch
of
and
TNA.
Tarek, right? That was
And Tarek.
And Vertigo
good.
was against someone. Was Vertigo in that? Or
Personal friend Von Vertigo now?
No, Vertigo beat Jax.
Right, who we both like too. What's Jack's last name? Jax Williams was a good match. And
doing like his own Prime thing, which was kind of
funny. And Vertigo ended up sitting at our table for Rumble for a bit, so we talked to him. Talked to cool. Blackwood as well, and Brent Banks.
You did, right? Because you
also
went
there.
to the washroom, or was it when you were getting food?
One or the other, yeah.
Yeah.
The main event was the best indie match we've seen in forever. I was sort of messaging Ghost Jam, one of our listeners, about it. Go ahead, you can describe it. It was awesome.
We got Psycho Mike, their like world champ, and Jody Threat of TNA.
Yes.
Actually, we saw Danny Luna in a match.
Danny Luna looked awesome.
She was pretty good.
Yeah.
She beat Alexia Nicole, who's pretty well known on indies, I think.
Right.
Anyways, Jody Threat of TNA, one half the tag champ. She's their women's champ. Like, she's one half the TNA tag champs, and she's world champion,
in
women's
Smash.
champion in Smash.
Yes.
And so this champion versus champion special attraction, except unbeknownst to everyone, they basically swapped gimmicks.
Yes.
And it was really funny.
And held to it. Like, Jody Threat comes out to Psycho Mike's music dressed as Psycho Mike, complete in like a nude bodysuit with nipples on it.
Gets addressed as Psycho Mike the whole time.
The referee kept the gimmick going the whole time.
Surprisingly, like I don't think I saw the ref break ever. Which
so Psycho Mike, who's a pretty big jack dude, comes out in like Jody Threat's gear, right, and is doing her mannerisms, and like Jody Threat's doing his voice pretty well. And like,
and Psycho Mike's doing like screeching and whatever, and like
it was great. And so for us, because we know we've been to a bunch of Smash and we know what they're about, because Psycho Mike is comedy character. I don't know. I guess
he's somewhat,
And he's always worried about the hard cam, and he's always
doing
talking up body slams and stuff.
I think like because when we saw him, it was the Smash vs. Progress show in the week before Takeover Toronto in 2019. I want to say that was my first indie show.
And I think the thing was like, he was getting ready to be in like a major company, so he needed to figure out where the hard cam was.
I remember him doing that on the first show we saw him. I think that was my first indie show, because I think before that I'd only been to like WWE house shows, and then when we went to Impact tapings the year before.
So I don't know, like, if you're not up on Smash and what they're doing, it might have seemed strange to you, but as people who were kind of in on the joke, it was fantastic.
Yeah, it was really funny, and like that's the kind of stuff that's super enjoyable for indies. But like then when you put it on mainstream and something stupid like the Jackass match, then it becomes
this was comedy done right.
Yeah, I think so. It was really funny,
and they still executed stuff. It wasn't like super high work rate on tons of offense, but they didn't need it because
and then they went to a double pinfall, which kind of makes sense.
That's right. So yeah, it was a fantastic main event, a really fun show, and then we stuck around and watched all of Royal Rumble. And I don't know, we should probably just get into
We'll get there
things.
right after news.
Yeah, so let's get straight into it, because time is of the essence here. So our first thing we always talk about is some of the week's wrestling news and rumors. looking at the ratings. Oh, I'm going to have to scroll up. Professional work we're doing right here. The ratings for NXT this week, 766,000 viewers, down 7.4%, 0.20 in the key demographic, up 5.3. Lowest audience total of 2025 so far, but still really good numbers for them. I'm sure they're happy with that. Dynamite, 605,000 viewers, almost exactly the same, up 1,000.
Pretty typical for them.
Yeah, up 1,000 viewers from last week, and a 0.17, which is exactly the same. So again, don't know what's going on with the viewers on Max. I heard a rumor, I don't think it's true, that there's like 100 to 200,000 people watching on Max. So I don't know how.
At least they're holding steady, I guess.
Yeah, and again, they got that TV contract money, so I don't think it's that big of a deal.
And
but
my friend who watches, he's mostly a main roster guy. My Xbox friend, shout out to Jaden. He said he watched Dynamite this week. He's not a fan, which I kind of expect. No offense. But like, and he was talking about the small venues. I was saying like, he was like, what happened to like them doing the bigger venues? And I was just like,
they weren't filling them.
Yeah, and so I'm, as much as I would love them to be in the typical WWE weekly venues, I'd like the full venues.
Exactly. If you can't fill it, then you downsize.
And the smaller venues like this one,
smart.
You can notice the slight differences in just like how the arena looks, and I don't mind that because it gives it some of the arenas, like when the week when Ospreay and Omega were jumping off of trusses and whatever.
Yes.
It gives.
There's a unique feel to it.
It gives the atmosphere a bit of personality, right? And so
I agree.
There's a bit of that. So yeah, like. They have the TV contract and at least they're selling out venues now. It might not be as up, but like then you can do stuff like Hammerstein. I really like the Hammerstein show.
And if part of your criteria for what's a good wrestling company is how many tickets they sell, well, that's just not a metric I really care about. Yeah. Right? Like that to me, that's not.
And I think a sellout's more important than a big venue, right?
It's like when WWE is touting it's the largest gate and whatever. All they're really saying is,
we got to charge you more money.
We charged you more money and you suckers paid for it than we ever have.
Well, it's because they do that dynamic pricing now, right?
Yes. So all they're saying is we gouged you more than we ever have.
Gouged you?
Right. So, anyways, what do you have for news?
I guess we'll go through the releases. Since
I had that too.
We don't get that. It's that.
Remember,
anymore.
It used to be like.
Remember the pandemic and we had like Black Friday or whatever, or like Black Thursday or whatever it was. And we had like this swath of releases, and then like Impact comes along with Slammiversary, and they're like teasing a million people because they have the option.
So I think I got one of them fired because I was literally last week going, "What does she even do? What is her purpose on the roster?" And now she's gone.
I have a knack for screwing people over.
I do. There's powerful people listen to this show,
and like, they did pass the thing right? There's no non-competes anymore.
But
right?
I saw somebody did have a non-compete.
So yeah, I wasn't.
So I don't know either if it can't be legally enforced anymore.
So releases, we have Blair Davenport, which is dumb because like she was okay in NXT, but then they called her up and did
nothing,
like, squat, and then so that's not like they should.
She's not bad.
They should have just cut her from NXT. Or I also think this is bad timing to release her because she's on SmackDown, where the women's roster, in my opinion, isn't exactly deep. So with these mid-card titles, I feel like you need all the people you can get, and she's a solid hand compared to some people. So
maybe they're clearing people out because the NXT women's roster is bloated and they can start moving people around.
I don't think a lot of people out down there, like Perez is officially on Raw now, which I guess I could have put in news. But anyways, besides her, there's not a lot of people really ready to go up. Like I think you could make a decent argument for Julianne Vaquer since their experience.
Yeah.
Zarya, I think you could maybe wait a bit. I do know she's an indie experience.
I agree.
But like I think you could wait a little bit. Jordan Grace, I've heard like she's gonna be main roster bound pretty soon. Like she has an NXT run coming, but she's not gonna be there for like more than a year, I think.
I also don't think Henley needs to stay. Not that I think she's gonna be a star on main roster,
but
I don't know.
She could be a US champion.
I don't know what else she needs to show in NXT at this point,
she could be a US champion. Like she's the kind of person that like,
Jada
they
Parker's
need to bolster
close.
those mid card titles. I think Jada deserves a run with the main NXT belt.
Me too.
And just like as a proving ground kind of thing.
She needs a bit more work, but not much.
But yeah, like Blair Davenport is like the timing is kind of weird to me. Like if they didn't have those mid card titles, I'd kind of understand because it's like she's never getting the top belt. But I feel like now there's more of a space for people of her caliber.
Yes.
So I think it's weird. Another one, Isla Dawn. I haven't seen anything about Kaylee Ray yet or Alba Fire.
Yeah.
I hope they keep her because I think she's a lot better than Isla Dawn. I don't think Isla Dawn's bad, but
she's
I think
not bad.
Kaylee Ray's
really
a lot
good.
better.
She's really good.
And she's way better than she's gotten to show.
She is.
Since she became Alba Fire. Because I'd even argue when she was in NXT 2.0, she wasn't really getting a showcase.
It's like UK that we saw her really.
Right. Ever since the name change, I think she's just hasn't been her.
She's really good in ring.
But again, like that cuts the tag division a bit.
It
and
does.
again, I think Isla Dawn could be a mid-carder.
Yeah. I don't mind Isla Dawn, honestly.
Yeah, that one's kind of iffy. Really, the most surprising one for me might have been Duke Hudson, who was said to have been let go sometime in January.
He's been gone for a while, yeah.
Yeah. That's just odd because I thought he was a decent fit there, and then like
me too. I thought
apparently Triple H just didn't see him as a main roster guy, which is fair. If that's the case, then it makes sense to cut him. I'm just surprised.
He's a guy I think is like a solid mid-carder main roster. He's got good size. He did a bunch of weird characters that he really went all out for. I'm not saying they were good, but he was one of those guys willing to do whatever, and he has like a decent look for them. But anyways, yeah.
Yeah, so that one was kind of surprising. Little surprising, more disappointing is that Cedric's gone. Got him over there. He's been there since 2016, so good for him for like he lasted a long time.
Oh, that's why these three. I was just figuring out.
Yeah.
And I've told you, I think
he's been more prominent lately.
But he looks like he's lost a step in some of his matches. Like he's been kind of hit and miss for me.
I've seen some murmurings
NXT.
That the Hurt people are gonna.
That was one of my items, which I don't see the value there.
You never know.
I would rather they find someone new that's already in AEW.
I agree.
Bring somebody
I agree.
Like
I don't
Cedric,
think I would.
Nothing.
I know it's.
He doesn't fit the vibe either. He's not a menacing, cool-looking heel.
Yeah, that's fair. See, it's kind of weird with the partnership, but I would say he's a good fit in TNA. But like, it's weird because. But you can still do that because they are their own company, so they can take him and then just he doesn't have to cross over.
That's right.
Right. So I would say he's a good fit for TNA. Then obviously here we have AOP and Paul Ellering.
I think it was just like
what a waste of a run. Because remember they were brought back and they were just kind of sitting around it was like they're under contract, they aren't doing anything, and then they were just cross as heaters, and then
I think it's basically we don't care about tag teams. These guys
aren't great.
They have to have somebody with them to talk. They're fine. Like they're a fine big man team, but there's just nothing for them to do. So
yeah, I don't think there's
much of a place for them too, right?
Yeah, like I just don't think they're that great. Like they were cool NXT, and then it just kind of faltered from there. And I don't think the group with Cross, like some people thought it had potential. I don't think it's that great. I think Cross has been doing a little better work lately, but that's not work that requires that.
Agree. And so
like he to me it seems like it's because he's trying to like manipulate people like and push them to the dark side. It seems like he's doing Sean O'Hare's devil's advocate kind of thing.
I don't mind it.
I think it's kind of interesting, and I don't like him, so that's saying something. But it doesn't require AOP or Ellering, and that was a group with two managers. Why were Scarlett and Ellering there?
And I think like if I'm WWE executive or whatever, I'm saying these guys can't get over on their own. You're always gonna have to work hard to get. You know what I mean? Like this stuff could work with them, but it's never gonna be easy. I feel like so it's just like cut bait and they don't care about tag teams. They're never going to be singles. So
yeah, I could see them. I know Eric Young's got Alexander's boys now, who we also saw in the show. They
Sinner
were cool.
and Saint were there.
I really like them.
Yeah,
they're cool. But I feel like Eric Young could take AOP as like a Violent by Design.
You really thought the expressions on is that
Icarus?
Sinner?
He's got. I think so. Yeah. But
yeah.
Icarus. Yeah, he's got some good expressions
and barefoot, which I didn't notice.
I always think that's kind of interesting. Yeah. He's like, well, he's rocking the speedball style with the kick pads over barefoot.
They definitely came across as like bigger stars, like just even the way they carried themselves and their charisma and stuff. They felt
and
like
they
you
have
could
like
see
some
why
really
they got
fluid tag offense, right? And it was nice to see Mark Wheeler again.
It was
because we like him and
Jesse
V's. Jesse V is like Brian Cage and Nico Vance had a child.
He's a really big dude, and then he does some surprising athletic stuff.
Yeah, he's better than you'd think he is.
He's getting better for sure.
He looks like a green NIL prospect, but like he's got some stuff.
He'll get noticed just because of his size. He's a very big man.
Beefed, yeah. And then the last one is not a release, but her contract's not being renewed. The one that you foretold is Sonya Deville.
Yes, the one that I'm sorry, Sonya, my bad.
And this is really mean, but I'm happy she's gone because I hope that means better things for Baszler. It won't.
No.
But anything that gives me hope, I will take it.
Yep, she was the one I was like, what is she even doing here?
I feel like Baszler and Stark are cursed to roam the tag division, though.
Probably.
Although, and I was saying to you, I find it funny that PFC lasted less than a year.
Yeah, that was just a
stupid,
like lower mid card heel faction to just get beat all the time.
When we were watching it, they looked decent in the Rumble too. So it's kind of the timing is interesting.
Yeah, they actually got a stretch, and we'll get there where they look dominant.
Yeah,
but
I can always hope there's more for Baszler. I mean, I will always say Baszler deserves the top title.
Yeah.
I'll die on that hill. Realistically, though, I will be happy if she gets the Intercontinental belt.
For sure. Me too.
I think
or back to NXT and dominate there.
I like literally anything.
There, but
literally anything.
Sticking with the people losing their jobs, AEW fired Bear County, half of Bear County, as we call them.
The large half of
Boulder. Yeah, he's been arrested mid-January in Florida for charges of battery by strangulation by his girlfriend, fiance, I don't know, whatever they're...
He's a large dude to get strangulated by.
He is a very large man, and we've always joked about Bear County on here, and I guess those jokes no more because half of them gone. So see ya.
Yeah. Bear County, population 1.
Yeah. Poison Ron always does their gimmick. Pour some out for Bear County because, he's gone. What else do you have? I have a couple.
The opposite of going away is coming back, and Tyler Bates reportedly been cleared, so
nice.
We'll see him soon.
I thought you meant like a new signing.
I'd like him to feud with Dunn, because I know Dunn didn't turn on him, but he turned heel on Sheamus, right? And I remember there was that awesome vignette on NXT, and he kind of took shots at Bate too, so I'd like a little feud between them.
Yep.
Plus, they had sick matches before too. That one in TakeOver Chicago from 2017 is a classic.
And they were in the finals of the
tournament too, yeah.
As well.
The Chicago one was the rematch, I think. But yeah, they have great chemistry together. And I do love me some big, strong boys. So
something you'll love as a giant sports fan is the NBA. And now I'm sure you knew this because you're up
I already know what you're saying.
Yeah, that Bailey will be...
Bailey will... Yeah.
In the All-Star Celebrity Game.
That's what I knew.
So it's near her hometown because I think it's in the Bay Area this year.
Isn't she from San Jose? Right?
Yeah, so I think it's like out in San Francisco or whatever. So I may actually check it out to see her play a bit. It's the All-Star Game used to be like one of my favorite things in the world, and now it is an absolute waste of time because no one tries.
All-Star Game?
Yeah, nobody tries for even a second. It's like embarrassing. They're trying a new format this year with multiple teams, so we'll see. But I might check out Bailey in that. Good for her.
Yeah, sure. And I know you have this one, but I remember I had some specifics on it, so I'm going to go with it. The Hulk Hogan stuff. Oh, actually, no, this is different from the one you had. Never mind.
All right.
Hulk Hogan claims he expected to get booed.
Oh, what an idiot.
Netflix premiere. You want to hear why?
Yeah.
So he pulls the politics card again, but he also blames his WCW NWO run as a reason why, saying the last time he was running hard in LA, he was a bad guy. Now,
it's not because you're a racist piece of crap.
No, it's because he was a heel last time he was there. Now, this, mind you, this does ignore the years after that of being a babyface on a nostalgia run and being one of the biggest babyfaces in the history of wrestling before that. But when has he ever let logic and fact get in the way of anything?
That's correct. He's a known liar. The politics part, I think, is part of it. He is a right winger. He was in a
very because he's so heavy into because like Taker
left wing state at that point.
Taker, I think, is admitted to being like a Trumper too, but like he's not over the top with it, and he also hasn't been caught saying racist things on a sex tape. So there's a difference.
Massive racist, yes.
Because I think like you can't like cancel him just for having his political views, but Hogan's also like a piece of shit other than that, though, right? Like, because Taker has the same political views, but Taker's not an ass.
Right.
So, there's a difference.
And speaking of which, Seth Rollins, who's winning me over, so he commented on the Raw crowd booing Hogan and said that he loves to see it, and he had it was on a interview or podcast.
I think he was just saying like that he likes to see people get what they deserve, and like there's stuff he hasn't owned up to, right?
And then maybe he needs to take more responsibility for the stuff he's done if he wants people to accept him again, right? Because there's been no real apology or evidence
other than like a half-ass statement probably
has
when
learned and grown and become not racist. So too bad for him. I was super proud of wrestling fans for that moment, to be honest.
We shouldn't hold our breath on that.
No, we should not.
Continue with Rollins. Apparently the plan, no surprise, is him, Roman, and Punk at Mania.
Yeah.
That sounds pretty good. I mean, personally,
in a main event, I would assume too.
I mean,
given
who won the Rumble,
and you can't hit that story so hard with Punk, I don't think, and delay it another year.
Yeah, I think as much as I want to rob him of his main event forever, this will be a main event, and I think like Cena Cody's the other one probably.
But you can see Punk. I mean, he seems to be somewhat happy in WWE, but I wouldn't be shocked if this starts to piss Punk off. It's like, that's not what I meant. I wanted it for a title, and I wanted it not a triple threat.
The Rumble, right?
Like, so who knows? His feelings get hurt easily.
Someone who wants to rob Punk of his moment, and someone who doesn't like Punk, and
don't like Punk?
Noted Shield fan, I would much prefer Rollins versus Reigns. Not just because I hate Punk, but because that's been the story forever.
Yeah.
Especially within the last year with how much Rollins played into Roman losing his title. I think the feud's so there. And I do know Rollins has a feud with Punk, but Punk and Roman have kind of issues, but like it's not super defined.
That's why I kind of like it's almost centered on Rollins because he's the one that clearly and recently has issues with both.
Yeah, I do
So
like
I kind
that.
of like that for him.
I do like that for him because Rollins has always been my boy. I'll always be a big Rollins guy, but I would prefer Rollins and Roman because I think that's a match that could sell any pay-per-view.
Although I think the action might be better in a triple threat because Roman can sort of grind things to a pace that I'm not a big fan of.
That's true, but Rollins and Roman have had some bangers before. Have. I mean, the last match they had was probably my favorite. One of my favorite matches of Roman's title run was, even though it ended in DQ, which I will still say to this day that was a genius finish that they never capitalized on.
You loved that.
Yeah. And there's so much you could have done off of that, and then they just went, no, let's do a unification match. That just sucked. Like, no,
just to spite us.
Even people who like main roster, like, I think everyone craps on the Roman redacted match from Mania. Everyone loves the tractor one from SummerSlam later, but like the biggest WrestleMania match ever, everyone like despises that match, I think.
Yes, I am tapped out of news.
The last one I had was Charlotte and Andrade are getting divorced.
I heard they already were or have been.
Or they have been divorced. Yeah, whatever. But, getting divorced. It's in progress or something. Good for Andrade.
Yeah, I get. Yeah, it's funny because she
get a real woman who has a real face.
She's not getting the reception she's expecting when she's making appearances places.
Well,
NXT was a little better.
Because like it's hard to tell who it is.
It's you said it. She's Cody. To me,
she's
very much Cody.
She's the babyface who says how great she is, and it's like, oh, you love me,
and is very, very good in the ring. But
except her, I feel is even more heelish than Cody. Just like Cody does kind of talk like a babyface, even though like your point is valid, where what he's saying isn't very babyface, but like his tone and a lot of time it does like Charlotte just doesn't sound like a babyface at all.
Well, and I think
what she's saying is like Cody, but she sounds like a heel too.
And I think the crowd reaction backs that up because Cody gets the reaction he's supposed to get for the most part. She does not, right?
Exactly. And she's just this, and it's like even though she's been gone for a year, it's just we all know she's gonna get shoved in the main event scene again. Which case in point, the Rumble, she's gonna like. We just don't. I don't know what they do with her because she's not a bad wrestler. It's just everyone's so sick of her because. Honestly, if this is what the Roman fatigue felt like, then I get it because
there's just no range. She's the same no matter what.
You said she's like Orton, which is fair.
Like no heel or face, you're the same. You're not really likable in either capacity, but you don't have the RKO because that's
awesome.
What makes him sort of people want to cheer for, right?
Yeah. No one's waiting for her to hit like natural selection or oh my, she's doing the bridge. Like I don't know. We'll talk about Charlotte.
We will. So that's it for news, right? And we will now go into our kind of cold takes from a pay-per-view that was a week ago today, I guess, and that was WWE's Royal Rumble. So before we talk Rumble, I guess there's some breaking news.
There's some more cuts. I just was telling you about Giovanni Vinci's gone, which pisses me off because like he's awesome, and then they put him to SmackDown, gave him his cool character back, then had him get bitched out by Apollo Crews twice.
Yes, in like seconds or whatever.
He did nothing. They just made him look like a joke and then did nothing.
That guy is so good in ring. He can do like power.
You can't really talk, but that's why I was saying you should have had him in a team with Kaiser still because they were really cool.
They were.
And then there's a tag team that's been cut. You want to guess?
What show? Give me a hint.
SmackDown.
SmackDown?
Yeah.
Who's on? I don't know. I'll never
One of your favorite tag teams.
Really?
Yeah.
Who?
Good Brothers.
Oh, yes! I shouldn't celebrate. I always say, like, I don't want to celebrate people losing their jobs, and then here I am.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're useless. Goodbye.
I guess, like, then Michin's on her own, but...
Poor Michin. That's what's holding her back. Those guys, I guess. All right, so we're going to talk about Royal Rumble. Obviously, I don't have notes because we were watching it in shared company with a whole bunch of bar attending people.
Whip out the laptop and start taking notes
in the middle of the bar. I think there's people who do that. So the Women's Rumble opened the show, right? And the first two entrants were Io Sky, Liv Morgan, and then they went with Roxanne Perez, Lyra Valkyria. So I thought they were loading up sort of pretty strong wrestlers.
I thought like the
at the
opening
beginning.
stretch was really strong, yeah.
And then we got Chelsea Green, who, to be fair, like her little comedy bits that she did.
I thought she was pretty entertaining.
Because there was one point where it was all the black women standing together, right? And then she tries to join in with them because they're kind of like standing there, kind of like they're making a tacit agreement that let's all stick together, right? And then Chelsea Green's trying to like weasel herself in there. We got B-Fab appearance as well, right?
I didn't know she had her own theme song.
Right, which we were learning. So let me see.
She looked better than the last time I remember seeing her in a Rumble, but that's not saying much.
And as we all thought, Charlotte Flair did return, right?
Well, that was confirmed.
So we had Nia Jax eliminated 6 people at once, right?
I hated that.
Including, I think, Liv Morgan, Io Sky was in that, and Belair. So that was an interesting choice they made there.
It was certainly a decision.
As we talked about, Pure Fusion Collective dominated for a little while.
Baszler looked like she lost her luggage, but I don't think that was the case.
Yeah, you were like, that. No chance that was her real gear, but apparently it was.
I think it was, which is kind of crazy to me.
So they got eliminated by Belair and Naomi. I don't know if that's going to keep going as a feud now that they're by themselves, meaning
tag feud.
Yeah, that could be for sure. And then we had Dupree and Niall sort of picked up their rivalry in the middle of that somewhere.
So
Piper Niven accidentally eliminated Chelsea Green, right?
I'm
so
sure
I don't
we'll
know
pay that off
if that's going somewhere. It was a lot of Bayley and Perez squaring off as well, so that feud's going to be sort of furthered, I would think. And then there was surprise entrance, right? I would suggest the biggest reaction of the night.
I agree.
In the establishment we were in was for Alexa Bliss, right? Yep. Like, people were thrilled to see her.
Yeah.
We were not. Like, we're kind of like, whatever.
I like
good for
her, but like, she's fine. I was happy to see Jordan Grace. I thought she looked good and got a good pop as well.
Well, and she hit that Death Valley driver on Niven, right?
Yeah, that was
crazy. An impressive spot.
Actually, that was more like that Dream Valley driver that Velveteen used to do.
Right.
The cartwheel one, and then I got really disappointed with the last entrant. That was.
And so, who was last? Flair?
Nikki Bella.
Oh, right. That's the other surprise, was Nikki Bella back.
No AJ Lee.
Got a good reaction from the people.
Not even Becky Lynch. Well. Honestly, AJ Lee was a pipe dream, but like,
no
Becky Lynch.
Right.
Come on.
And then, obviously, Charlotte Flair won. We all know this. It's a week
Could have seen it coming from a mile away. We both picked it.
I imagine she's going to take on Stratton, right? It feels like.
Yeah, I'm just afraid.
Yeah, so let's see if there's any real highlights we missed here, just sort of glancing over things. We already talked about Piper Niven, and yes, Flair got like a ton of pyro on her entrance, right? And we had Julia.
Too much pyro.
Julia, so there was a little moment with almost like the passing of the torch or whatever, because you had Vicaire, Julia, and Perez kind of staring down Belair, Bayley, and Flair. And it's cool. Like the sort of confrontation of the generations of NXT.
I do think it's kind of dumb because then after winning the Rumble, Charlotte goes to NXT as if she's going to challenge Julia for her title, but then Julia shouldn't be in the Rumble,
right?
If they consider it to be equal.
She got a decent reaction too. Yeah, they looked good.
I know her belt isn't equal, which is why the NXT people get in the Rumble, but like, then don't pretend like I don't know why Charlotte would pick her then. I mean, Charlotte is the only person to ever pick the NXT title when she screwed over Ripley in 2020, but still, it's weird to me.
I thought it was a good Rumble match.
I thought it was good. It was better than I expected because they did manage to weave in a decent amount of stories and like,
the build to it was terrible.
But like they had a lot of interconnected stuff like Dupree and Niall.
Yes.
They acknowledged Io and Bayley. I think Bayley and Charlotte had a bit. Obviously Bayley and Perez.
Yep.
Like there was the stuff with the black one at one point.
Yep.
You had like Chelsea Green doing some solid comedy bits. You had something teased with her and Niven. Naomi and Belair were doing stuff, right? Like I thought there was a decent amount of stuff going around, right? Which makes a good Rumble.
Never going to be amazing, so it's almost like you're grading it differently. I gave it 3 3/4.
I do think the action was solid though, and I would agree. Yeah, I think the men's one was definitely going to overshadow it, and it did. It did. But we'll get there.
Yeah. So next match we got the 2 out of 3 falls. It is DIY taking over Motor City Machine Guns, and
DIY's heel theme I really like. They have a new theme song. I thought their theme song last year was horrible.
Yeah.
I thought this one's really cool, and I listened to it. I uploaded it since it's not on iTunes yet, and it reminds me of like Def Rebel. It is Def Rebel obviously, but like circa 2021, like with the Adam Cole's theme. Or it's like. It feels kind of Undisputed Era-ish to me, which is always a compliment in any regard.
I saw a thing, I don't know if it's true or not, that there are some superstars complaining about their themes. And
I saw that too.
Generic.
I do think some of them are bad, but I feel like that was more exposed in the last couple of years. This year, I thought mostly like.
Although this is when I'm seeing all the headlines and stuff about the themes are terrible. You couldn't. I can't judge because I don't know half the themes regardless.
I don't think it was that bad. I thought like Balor came out to the Judgment Day theme in the Rumble, which I thought was an odd choice.
Yeah.
Because that one theme's not super known since it's new, and like that one I thought was done because Balor has his own theme. It's not like he doesn't have a solid theme. It's just I thought it was a weird choice.
So this tag team match I think suffered from a couple things. One, directly following a Rumble match that was pretty good, and 2 being a tag team match on a pay-per-view, and the crowd is like, what is this?
And I just don't think it got the time it should have been. Like 2 or 3 false matches like this should be drawn out more, and like this was clearly like it was more Mordos versus Hologram and less Bullet Club Gold FTR, if that makes sense.
And it was the opening Women's Rumble over-delivered, and this one under-delivered for me.
I agree, but like
action
in
was
hindsight,
I didn't like the finish.
I agree. In hindsight, I feel like I should have expected something like this. Like I was excited for this, but it's a main roster PLE.
So DIY ended up retaining.
Thought the first fall was kind of done well. I didn't like how quick it came. But
I don't remember.
It was like where Gargano pretended to tag in and Shelly fought him, and then Ciampa caught Shelly with a knee and then pinned him. That was cool because I remember the Bar doing something like that, and that's how they beat the New Day to end their like super long title run.
Right.
So I thought that was kind of cool. But yeah.
And so it was heel now Street Profits, right? Getting involved in the finish here.
Yeah, I saw their promo from SmackDown. It was actually pretty good. Like Dawkins especially. It was like
I think something new for them is
more serious. Well, and I know they've expressed real life frustration about like not really getting much to do in a while, and so like in their promo, even in kayfabe, it was even like they keep getting close and then getting screwed over or something like that. So I like that because Motor City Machine Guns gave their title shot away when they got taken out, and DIY were the ones who took them out. So they've got beef with kind of both teams. I could see them going tweener because they're like decently popular and like, but I don't mind more serious Street Profits because that's
me too.
That's what they tried to do with the group with Lashley, right? And then they just didn't seem to really fully commit to that.
And then it was Ford's going to be a single star, and that didn't ever happen.
That was even before that, and that was
I think something new for them is a good idea.
I like them as a tag team. I don't see Ford as a huge single star, so I think they're a good tag team together, and they haven't split yet, so I think we keep them.
So what was it? Dawkins hit Shelly with the crutch, and then Ciampa Gargano hit the meat in the middle, and then after the match they attacked the champions too with the crutch, right? So it's kind of like they weren't there to help anybody, they're just there to sort of cause chaos. And it was good match, but didn't get to the level it should have, right?
I think it was outdone by the next match too.
Yes. So that opening, you're right, the first fall was good. So I didn't have any major notes or highlights from that.
Good, not great.
Yeah, I went 3.5 stars.
Yeah,
the crowd didn't help either.
There's nothing wrong with it. Like, and from what we got, it's just it should have been more. I think.
And the finish diminished a bit. Like, I'm happy the heel profits are a new thing, but I didn't love that they were such a direct influence on a finish to a match I really wanted to see.
Yeah, that's fair.
Then we get into, I think things kind of kicked into gear on this next match, which was pretty crazy. And it's Cody and Kevin Owens in a ladder match for, I guess, champion versus champion, sort of, not really. Dude, this match just kept building and building. I
thought this match was awesome.
And then there were, 4 spots that were, first of all, like there's the one Owens, remember early on, the ladder's lying on its side, and Owens just body slammed him through the stabilizing piece.
Yeah, that was really cool.
That looked really painful. Then you had, Owens took something on the side.
Owens got backdrop on the side of a ladder.
Looked crazy.
That was pretty sick.
And there was one before the finish too.
There was the one where Owens hit the fisherman buster onto a ladder bridge.
That was wild.
And then Cody's like on the announce table and he hits an Alabama slam through a ladder bridge.
And Owens just stayed in a position where
he was just folded. It was
like his neck was broken.
And Sami Zayn was out there.
Yeah.
He didn't do anything.
That's right. It was, is he going to help somebody? Is he going to...
And that's why Owens attacked him on Raw.
He kind of did nothing, right? And so that you would play into. But this match was crazy.
That was great. Like, the action was generally pretty good, and then it had some really sick high spots.
Stuff I'll remember, and I don't remember things.
Yeah, like, I thought for a one-on-one ladder matches are kind of tricky, because sometimes they get boring, and then it's also hard to, like... Because in a multi-man ladder match, it's a lot easier to have someone to stop the climber.
And I didn't feel there was a lot of those spots of, like, he's climbing far too slowly.
No, it felt like the Blood Feud too, right?
It did.
I thought it was really good.
Me
like
too.
It could at least make my short list for now, right?
Like,
I thought it was really good.
Dude, I gave it 4.5 stars. I thought it's about as good as it gets for WWE matches.
I'd give it like.
Listen, I'm a staunch not liker of Cody Rhodes, and I'm willing to say that this match was awesome.
Yeah, I thought it was, I will give Owens the credit. I'll give it 4.5. Yeah, because I thought Owens especially like just. Apparently, Cody took some injuries from this. I don't know how Owens did it.
I don't know how they didn't. Kevin Owens is amazing.
Owens, yeah, he deserves a lot of credit.
His body's built a little more to take that punishment, kind of like Mankind. Like, he can take punishment.
This was sick.
Fantastic match.
A lot better than their main event match, I thought, because that one was like...
I agree.
That format I do take issues with, but this was just fantastic.
So then we get the men's Rumble match, which again... I can't remember a build this strong for a men or
like a field
Rumble.
This stacked too.
Super stacked field. It starts out with Rey Mysterio and Penta, which is
Blue.
great. And remember, there was a guy at the table beside us who was so proud of himself because he said that it would be Penta out second.
It was the guy who went up and did the Nikki Bella dances she entered.
Oh my God, yeah. He was fan of the night. Because we're always looking for somebody at indie shows to be sort of weird. And there was a guy who was so excited about Nikki Bella's entrance that he stood up and did her little dance. Yeah, so that was funny. We had to sort of ignore the fact that I think Penta got eliminated really early,
yeah,
right?
I did see it again. I'm pretty sure it was, which sucks.
It was pretty bad. But
aside from that blip, yeah, he was fine.
Then we get Mello, Escobar,
we got
Otis.
Gable third, didn't we? Which I thought was a good callback because he's feuded with the LWO. Then he had Penta's debut match. Like, he's had the luchador issues, right?
Right.
So right off the bat, like, some good storytelling.
It was. And then late in the match, we get a string of just superstars coming in, right?
Yeah, my favorite wasn't it at number 8? Was that when I don't remember if it was. I think it was number 8, but like Tozawa came out. He got taken out by Mello.
Yeah, talk about that.
And then I Show Speed comes out. He's internet guy.
Yes.
And he gets absolutely crushed by a breaker spear, like just tackle it.
I don't know how he's not hurt.
It was amazing. And then he gets thrown out into Otis, and Otis just like chucks him over the announce table.
Right.
And he like scraped his leg off the chair or whatever, because he had this nasty like gash on his leg.
He had a very memorable.
I was so pissed because I was like, that's such a waste of a spot. But then he just got absolutely destroyed. And there's never a time where I see it and I don't laugh.
It was great.
It's hilarious.
I called it Logan Paul. He was the only star I couldn't think of that was sure going to be in it. Came out last, right? I think
he was last, yeah.
So late in the match, Punk eliminated Rollins and Reigns, sort of setting that further in motion, I guess. And then the stomp onto Reigns.
Paul took out Punk, right?
Yeah.
As well.
Right.
Yeah, right. Later, yeah. But yeah, he had like a 2-footed curb stomp to Roman on the floor. Then him and Punk start brawling.
He
flips
painful.
off Heyman, hits a stomp to Roman on the stairs. And like, yeah, Rollins went berserk here. I don't know if it classifies as a heel turn since Roman and Punk are kind of baby faces. Rollins might have to be the designated Drew McIntyre in this feud.
Yeah, he might actually. Then it ends up the last two being Cena and Jey Uso, right? And everyone's assuming Cena's going to win this. And what is it, Battle on the Apron? I can't remember.
He gets out an AA and pushes Cena off, and Cena's like surprised, and
Jey Uso wins the Rumble and is going to unfortunately go on to defeat poor Gunther at Mania.
I'm almost positive.
Yeah, I thought this was
one of the best Rumble matches I've ever seen.
Mention notable too. Hendry was in it, got a really good reaction, but wasn't in it for too long. Spear, I think it was Reigns eliminated him.
Reigns speared him and chucked him. Reigns was spearing a bunch of people, and then him and Breaker to face off, and Breaker speared him. Like, so that was a pretty big moment, I think.
Yes.
Fatu had a good showing, I thought. I was pissed Strowman threw him out.
Yes.
Because that was kind of disappointing.
I guess
but
that's
other than that,
where they're going right now with that.
But Fatu had a show off with Roman, and like, so I thought he looked really good. Breaker looked really good as well.
AJ Styles returned.
And he was like quick and looking good.
Yep.
But like, it was an absolute stacked field, and just the amount of stories you have running through here. Like, you had Roman and Rollins and Punk and Roman, Punk and Cena got called back too. Obviously, Punk and Drew was there. I thought Drew should have stuck around longer to be involved in that, but
he's mad about his own, apparently he knows if it's real or not.
McIntyre and Rollins have issues. McIntyre and Roman had issues, which is paid off. Fatu and Roman. I think Fatu faced off with Jimmy at some point too, right? There's the Bloodline stuff. There's Gable and the Luchadors.
Yes.
Kaiser got chucked out quick by Penta, which led to a match on Raw.
Yeah, that's right.
There's just so many things going on here. Just so many things. I thought the action was typically pretty good too for Rumble too. Like, this was probably the most engaged I've been in a Rumble in a long time, because I thought the action was always pretty entertaining, and just the amount of stories and interactions that we had. Like, there were some interactions that I was super excited for, like Rollins, Fatu, or what I was really waiting for.
Yeah.
But just the amount of big interactions, like I guess you had Rollins and Paul have history too. I remember there was the period where everyone wanted to like kick the crap out of Logan Paul, right? Naturally.
Makes sense.
But like, there's just so much going on here and so many interesting stories. I think I did write it down too, because I just, like, you got new guys like Breaker and Fatu got to show out. You had, I think, Otis and Gable that got teased as well, right? You just had so many things going on, and we always say it's good to have running stories in the Rumble. This was like chock full of it, right?
Either create something or further something,
which
right?
I think was done in multiple cases, right? You had callbacks to feuds, and then you were kind of furthering feuds. You created matches out of this, like Penta and Kaiser. I think we could get Penta in, like, I remember he was teasing going after Breaker, right? So you could get that.
He was.
A couple surprise entrants, not a lot, but honestly, a great Rumble that didn't really need them.
No New Day, I was surprised. So no Kofi spot.
Yeah.
Oh, Logan Paul did a
Logan
jump
Paul's,
from the apron,
I think, might be the new Kofi.
what was that, apron to announce table,
yeah.
which is impressive.
I would have liked a surprise entrant or two though, instead of like I didn't think we needed LA Knight or Priest in there.
No.
But like generally this was a really great Rumble. Like I was super high on it. I think Jey Uso winning is the wrong choice in every regard. There's so many people defending this because, like, oh, he's over and the crowd loves him. And yeah, that's great. But that's one factor of this. You're not ignoring the fact that he can't cut a serious promo, his character's a joke, and he can't wrestle.
Yeah, other than that, I don't really care what they do with the finish, but I thought I heard that, like, as the kids say, that got ratioed real bad, Jey Uso and Charlotte winning.
Yeah, I mean, I think more people are high on that. But for me, great Rumble matches, horrible winner choices. Like, I'm not saying we need the nostalgia run, but like I think the Cena nostalgia run just makes sense, and I'm okay with that.
I like them going for a surprise winner.
I do, but I would like a better one.
But he's such a
bad.
He's just a product of the timing of, like, he got a yeet thing that caught on, and it's just all. There's no substance. It's all sizzle, no steak.
Yeah, he's like the second least talented member of his family, right? Like this, I would say he's better than Solo, but that's not really saying much. But I think, like, top to bottom, this was a fantastic Rumble match.
I gave it 4.5 stars.
I agree. I thought this was fantastic.
Right? So,
and at least in my time, it's probably the best Rumble I've seen, and I think people will look back on this one as one of the all-time greats. Like, I think it was. For me, I think it's better than something like the 92 Rumble, where, like, your centric story, or like the 2006 Rumble, where your centric story is like Ric Flair going the distance, or like Rey Mysterio going the distance for Eddie, right? But this one, it's like there's so many different stories that's not just focused on this one thing. Like, or we had the 2020 Rumble where it was really cool, where Brock was just dominating a bunch of people, right? But that's just one thing. This had so many different things that there's always something to keep you interested, right? And there's just so much going on.
Like, it's a compliment to Raw because I'm watching Raw every week, and they're doing a really good job with all those, the main event and just beneath people.
Yeah,
like
a lot of that was from Raw.
Punk and Drew and Rollins and Sammy, like all
that. Sammy was there too. I forgot about
all
him.
that stuff is really being really interesting on TV. So it led into this. So
forgot to mention that Jey accidentally eliminated Sammy, which Sammy seemed okay with on Raw, but that I feel like that could come back.
I think
around,
so
right?
too. Yeah.
So that's another thing we could have coming out of this, right? There's just so much there.
So only 4 matches still, I think, went like 4.5 hours.
I thought it was a really good show, though, because like your worst match is going to be DIY and Machine Guns, which isn't even bad.
So I went with the math, averaged it out, and that's an A- pay-per-view.
I agree.
Me,
I think
right?
this was probably my favorite PLE in a long time.
Yeah. It was really.
I thought like top to bottom was really good, and the main thing.
Maybe we're influenced by being out in public and having a really good time and watching it. Who knows? But we can't separate that. We feel how we feel.
Yeah, and I think the main thing is like
baked
you're coming there for the Rumble matches. I thought both of those winners aside, really delivered, and I
then
think that's
hell of a ladder match too.
And a hell of a ladder match. I think the most important thing is that those marquee matches delivered. It's kind of like when we're watching Survivor Series and War Games matches just kind of then the show's kind of but this was like the Rumbles were really good, especially the men's one. I think was fantastic. Like, I don't think it'll be match of the year just because I would never pick a Rumble match over an actual match, but I do think it'll get mentioned at the end of the year.
And even as a pay-per-view in the running that was really enjoyable.
I agree.
Right?
Like, it's on my short list. Like, it'll get mentioned.
And I'm sure people think we're really hard on WWE a lot, but
this was fantastic.
I would way rather watch something like this than a boring pay-per-view. And when it's good, and we like it, and we'll tell you. So yeah, I thought it was a very, very fun show to watch. It was really a cool experience being out and about to watch it with a whole crowd of people.
I don't know how much I would do that, but I was saying to you, I would do it again for the Rumble next year.
Rumble, I think, is the best way to do it.
I think so, because it's just the nature of the Rumble
match
makes that fun.
Reacting to every entrant and counting down. And
it's because, like, I feel like in the public thing, it's a little hard to focus on actual wrestling. I found, like, with the 2 3 Falls match, I wasn't watching it as much. So I think something like the Rumble is great because it's not completely about the in-ring action. Like, I would never watch an AEW pay-per-view there, I think, just because I want to be locked into it.
I agree.
And just be watching it. But something like the Rumble, I think, is the perfect public experience, just because then, especially with like you said, the reactions of the entrants are just really key.
Very good time we had. And it wasn't even that late a night because it started at 6, so we still ended up being home.
Yeah, it was.
Hit some traffic on the way, but we were home by 11:30, I think, so that wasn't bad. Awesome. All right, that's going to wrap up that. We'll move into a different company and their weekly offering. We'll drill down into this past Wednesday's episode of AEW Dynamite. I kind of like this episode of Dynamite, not to spoil anything. So
really?
Tell me about it. You did not? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm not saying I didn't. I'm just surprised like you're like going out of your way to say it.
Because that was me not saying okay or all right at the beginning of the segment.
Okay.
That's what I have to do. Say something else, anything else, So I did. Success.
So
over. Moving on.
We started with J-White getting interviewed like in front of one of those semi trucks that are like usually like the production truck, not the production truck, but like the ones
in the parking lot. It's a little safer than NXT.
Yeah,
not much.
I was telling you, I got quick digression, but they have new brawl areas for 2K25, and one of them is
as it should
NXT
be.
parking lot, which I think is pretty hilarious. And then I was telling you they have the WWE's archive warehouse, which looks awesome because you can like knock into shelves, knock over weapons. There's like a WrestleMania ring with no rope, so it's like underground, which is also a match type in there. You can play underground matches, which looks kind of cool. But then there's like you can climb up on these scaffoldings, you can fight on a WrestleMania sign.
Fun.
And there's a Austin's monster truck is in there.
Of course.
There's like it's just like a bunch of old props in there, right? It looks really sick, and there's so much like it's just the way they've thought that out is really impressive. But anyways, yeah, the parking lot we can finally have parking lot matches in the infamous NXT
Nobody
lot.
is safe in that
Nobody
parking
is
lot.
safe with the bloodiest matches in the parking lot there. But yeah, he's interviewed out there, said, well, dealing with the Death Riders, he has to rely on people he never used to rely on, so he has to rely on Copeland and FTR. Death Riders walked out to confront him, but he was ready for that. He had Copeland and FTR ready to intercept behind them, so that was actually kind of smart. They ended up brawling. Marina Shafir just picks up Renee over her shoulder and walks away. I thought that was kind of funny. They end up fighting out to the arena. Cash Wheeler sends Pac into the entrance tunnel so hard, like part of the plastic or whatever chips off of it.
And his back was...
And he catches a gash from that, yeah. Brawl mixes the ring, White with a Blade Runner to Yuta. He went for one on Moxley, but Pac made the save before taking a smash contraption. Mox stomps White in the corner, tells him to stay out of his business. Copeland's lined up for a spear. Claudio takes the bullet for Mox as he escapes, and then the Death Riders hightail it out through the crowd. Copeland grabs a mic and wants an answer from Mox because he challenged him to a title match at Revolution, as I've been saying will be the case. Mox says Copeland deserves nothing and gets nothing. White gets the mic, says something, and he challenges he challenges Claudio and Mox to face him and Copeland in what he calls a Brisbane brawl, which will just be a no DQ match at Aussie, and Mox accepts.
Yeah, White, his alliance kind of feels forced with the rest of them.
100%.
But he's doing the best he can.
He is, and I like that he acknowledges that it's kind of a necessity, kind of like he did when they were in the four-way feud, and he was like, he didn't want to work with Cassidy and Hangman. So, like, I agree, it definitely feels forced, and I definitely don't want him working with Edge because I like Jay White.
Yeah, me too.
But I trust him to make it work, and he's, like, I love his promos. I think he's great. And I did like at least that, even though it's a forced alliance, they're doing it well because they weren't dumb baby faces. Like, he was talking, and he knows he's going to get outnumbered, but then he was ready for Copeland and them to jump Death Rider. So I think that made them look like not like dumb baby faces, right? Which I thought that was cool at least.
I thought he was the best part of this. The brawl and everything was fine. It just kind of feels
like we just did that with the Omega Powers, though.
And it's standard wrestling stuff and not special. And this is your main event storyline. This involves the world title for your company. And it's just kind of like, yep, this is a very, like, they're going back to the well of brawling and the heels escaping, right? So it was also
Death Riders do that a lot lately.
It was also a really long segment, and I don't know how much it added to this program that I'm not super interested in.
I agree. I don't think it added much because I thought the brawl with the Omega Powers a couple weeks ago was good because it set up getting that tag match official and like forming the alliance with Omega and Ospreay. So I thought that one
and culminated in a memorable spot. Say what you will.
That too, right? But like I feel like at least they got us a conclusion in it. It furthered something, it had a purpose. This one, it just kind of, it does still get us a match, but I feel like it doesn't change a whole lot.
Now, it does get the Death Rider stuff out of the way early, and we don't return to it this episode, I don't think, right? So that was something.
Although I'd rather see more Death Riders than what we end up getting with the elderly folk.
True.
I still say that the Omega Powers versus Callous Boys still deserves the main event slot over this. I fear that won't be the case. I could see this match main eventing. But I think the greatest tag match ever deserves a main event. Obviously.
I'm not interested in this one that much for sure.
I'm interested to see. I'm glad White's in the orbit because I think that primes him to challenge Moxley after Copeland.
I think that's what you're getting,
which is a relief because then Copeland's not winning.
True.
Thank God. Despite Mox declining here, like I said, we're definitely gonna have to sit through Copeland and Moxley at Revolution. Like it's a lock. I've been saying that for weeks, and
it's happening.
Just confirms it for me, even though it's not confirmed. And I thought like. the old man intensity, and I'll talk about this again later when we get to Dustin, but with Copeland, it just doesn't, I don't know, his intensity, I just thought it was way more engaging when White gets intense and he's fired. Like, White's fired up promos, he's got a certain cadence and flow to him I just really like, and I meant to mention it earlier, but, like, with flow, but I saw Jimmy Uso's promo with Drew from SmackDown.
You were liking that better than Jay.
So much better. Like, it just feels like an actual promo instead of just like...
There's nothing about Jey Uso that feels real. Even though he's basically in tears on Raw and blah, blah, blah. Like, it's just, you're a cartoon.
Me, it's like, he's a cartoon character and you can't, like, I feel like you should be able to hold it together a little bit. Like, I felt like he was getting too emotional and, like, taking himself out of it.
Yeah.
And to me, it's just, Jay he's not a real person.
No.
My friend, again, sorry, Jaden, but, like, he was saying that Jay is, like, relatable and he's, like, whatever. I'm like, he's a joke. He's a cartoon. He's a caricature.
Everything Gunther's been saying is basically correct.
Is true. And, like, you can relate to being, like, fun-loving like that, but, like, he's not someone who should be taken seriously. He's someone, like, if that's a real person in a job, that's not someone who's going up to being a manager.
And I've seen comparisons too. It's like, oh, it's when it was Danielson's time and blah, blah, blah. But Danielson's an amazing performer. And it's not just because he threw on bright colors and said yeet.
Right. He's one of the greatest wrestlers we've ever known to start off.
He was the more relatable, like he's undersized underdog who just works and scraps and
right. Like he was underutilized and undervalued, but like he had merit. Jay does not have merit.
And you've now been main event Jey Uso for a while, so clearly you're getting some attention.
To compare Brian to Jey Uso in any regard is so insulting because it just like that's not it.
Yeah.
Like it's to me. And I know most people disagree, but to me, this is like when they were trying to force Roman down our throat. Like it's, except he's
the crowd loves him. I get it, but
like to me, Roman, even though I definitely agree that they shouldn't have been like forcing him, like they were in the mid 2010s. I think even back then he was more talented than Jay is now.
Yeah,
like 'cause I think Roman's never been bad in the ring.
Like if you put the belt on him, can you think of like? You have to think about, okay, this is the guy that's out doing media stuff, right? So say what you will about Cody, he handles that well. Roman can handle that, right? Gunther, I think, could handle that. But you're going to have, like, Jey Uso in mainstream stuff going yeet when people aren't in on that joke and stuff. He's going to come up... Because yeet was, like, 2 years ago, right?
Not even. Like, way, way, way before.
So
like,
I think, old. Like, outside of the wrestling bubble, this guy is meaningless.
Yeah, outside of the bubble, he looks like an idiot. Because Yeet is so years old, and it's like, and the Yeet thing came about because there's that Fastlane press conference when him and Cody were just goofing off, and that's fine all, but that's also not main event stuff. Like he's a joke, and I'll keep saying that because it just doesn't make sense. But like, and for me, not even like media stuff, but he's also world champion. You should be able to kind of carry your matches a bit, like Gunther, and like Cody can hold up his end more than well enough.
Yeah.
Jay flounders.
Kick, spear, Samoan drop.
Jay makes Gunther look worse.
Yeah.
Gunther.
I know.
Like, he can't, like, if you put Jay against someone who I don't think the world of, like, for example, Karrion Kross, I don't think is that great in the ring.
He's not.
So you put him against Jay, and it's gonna suck. If you put Kross against, like, Gunther, I would think it'd be a decent match at least. But Jay, like, I feel like he makes matches worse, not better. So it's like, I don't know. Digression again.
Back to AEW.
You can tell how we feel about Jey Uso. And the more people are gonna crow about.
Well, the more you're me, so you're gonna.
I'm gonna go harder into this because I already haven't liked his Yeet run. I think we both haven't, but I will dig my toes deeper into this the worse it gets.
Fair.
Our opening match is Ospreay against a member of the Don Callis family. It's not Trent. So where's Trent?
Where is Trent? Who knows?
Trent?
Who could say?
Question mark? He's dead?
Yeah.
Callis comes out, says he has a very important announcement. He says the opponent for Ospreay is someone he knows very well and a man Ospreay called his brother. And we got the so-called Ospreay killer. Mark Davis.
He did look pretty awesome here,
He did look pretty good. I agree. So into the match, we had a basement forum in the corner from Davis for 2. I think Kyrie saying
before this, they did a little thing from Collision, right, with Buddy and Okada.
They did, yeah.
Just to show us that they were, and I liked, because I made a note, like, it's nice to see Okada on TV because he's been gone
since the C2,
and then Buddy sort of doing something and getting a chance to interact with somebody and setting up what will be a heck of a match. So,
yeah, for sure.
But anyway, sorry.
Davis connects with some knife edge chops while like having Ospreay in a wrist clutch. Senton for 2 from Davis, flying forearm from the I think it was a springboard actually from Ospreay. Ospreay gets Davis in a figure four because I think he had a knee injury.
Mm-hmm.
But Davis reverses the pressure. Ospreay gets a rope break, release Dragon Suplex, and a really killer knee strike from Davis.
Looked good.
Then the best spot of the match was like he hit this satellite pile driver. It's kind of like when Dolph Ziggler would do the satellite
awesome.
DDT, but a pile driver basically, which I've never seen before, and it looked awesome. That got him a 2.
Andy had in the same sort of run there that what did you say it was, the stomp thing he did, but with his knee?
Yeah, it was like he holds their both their arms back and like
that looked cool too.
Them,
I
like,
thought that little
drop.
stretch of his was really good.
Yeah. Davis, the finish comes when he removes the middle turnbuckle, tries to throw Ospreay into it. The ref stops him. We get a bit of arguing with the ref, and then Ospreay just smashes him in the face with a hidden blade.
Looked good
to get the win. Ospreay grabs a mic afterwards, and he says Callis is a party pooper. He tells Callis he has a new best friend. It's just Omega. He comes out. Omega thanks the fans for the reception, says he has no clue what Callis has on Davis, but there are people he can trust and help is here. He says he makes his in-ring return to AEW in a week in Australia, which I forgot. Yeah, he hasn't actually wrestled.
Mm-hmm.
No, he has.
Hasn't he?
Cage.
Right.
I was thinking about it too. I was like, oh yeah, he hasn't wrestled for AEW. No, he has.
Yeah.
Will Washington.
Yeah.
That's an issue. Takeshi and Fletcher come out. Omega says they've done the song and dance before, so he invites them to do it again because they have nothing but time. He says it's been a long time since people could feel what he was feeling in pro wrestling, and everyone will get the feeling again. The match is to prove the future is in the ring right here, and Fletcher's like, no, it's here, which is fair.
Reasonable argument.
Omega does the sign-off and gets a lot of pyro.
Yeah, I thought this was a really entertaining, very AEW style, because it's probably a lot longer than it needed to be, considering like the gap in star power between Davis and Ospreay. But I think you kind of established Davis as like a really cool hoss here. I thought he looked very good. And a good win for Ospreay. It's not like it was ever in doubt, but I enjoyed the action of this, and I thought they did a pretty good job of showcasing Davis, who you can always say, well, he knows Ospreay so well, so that's how he can sort of hit him with a lot of offense and stuff, because he knows Ospreay. But and then the post-match stuff was fine as well. But I like this match.
Yeah, and I feel like if we don't get Aussie Open, Davis can be there. JD McDonough.
Yeah, I guess so.
That's me. I'm sorry, JD. Get better soon.
Yeah.
Solid match to start us off, though. I really liked it. Davis is a great host. I thought he had some cool stuff, and I think he got to look better here than he usually does. He doesn't always get showcases on his own either. The power driver was nasty. Had some cool other stuff, I thought. I did like the reveal Davis. I think it makes sense for the storyline, and it has some connection to Ospreay, of course, but I wish we had built to this better, because we had kind of started teasing it when Davis came back during the Ospreay-Fletcher feud, and we had some interactions between them. I was like, they haven't really hit each other, so it's like the Aussie Open can reunite, and then he was gone for a while when the C2 happened, and then they kind of dropped that story.
I had kind of forgotten that he had been left like in the middle without choosing a side.
Right, so like that's what I'm saying. They had the story started, and then they kind of dropped it. So I do like the reveal here, and I think it's really good. I'm really happy about it.
Because I was kind of like, oh yeah, he's not with the Callis family already, so it is a surprise.
I'm happy he's with the Callis family. I think it makes sense. I just wish we had teased it so the reveal was better.
Yeah.
But I like it, and I hope we get Aussie Open reunited. But honestly, the longer it goes, I'm just like, let's push Fletcher, and Davis can be a good
Davis will be the fall guy for the group, right? Unfortunately, but
yeah,
you got to have one.
Yeah. Post-match promo was solid, but that didn't add much for me. Like
me either.
It felt just kind of to be there.
Yeah, exactly.
Then we get a Ricochet package. It was basically just a recap montage. It was put together well, and it was cool. It's nothing revolutionary if you've been here along the way.
It was a good recap, and you get the sense these guys really don't like each other, and that's all we need.
It's nothing new if you've been following the story, but it's a good package. And like if you happen to be starting on Max today,
there you go.
On the show, then
right, you're up to date.
Yeah. We hear from the Hurt Syndicate next. MVP again gives props to Private Party as two talented athletes with a bright future, and like. Again, they did get squashed, but I appreciate MVP just kind of still talking them up, because I'm not like it just does kind of help soften it a bit, just because I don't know, it is just nice to give them recognition again. I say it all the time, but I do think highly of them. I do really like them. It's just the system was not behind them.
It was not poor timing too.
I agree. Which again, it's nothing that their fault. I think they're really cool. MVP said they're in the wrong place at the wrong time. Again, very accurate. He put AEW wrestlers on notice, saying they want to take your title, or when they want to take your title, they'll take your title. And he said they're open for business. Burning Daylight hits the speakers, and the Guns are back.
They got a really good reaction, I thought. I
agree.
Considering it's like, oh yeah, they're baby faces now because Jay White is, and like
they've been baby faces for a little while,
but they got a good reaction.
Yeah. Austin says they don't mean any disrespect by interrupting. He says they're businessmen. They want to conduct business, so MVP invites them in. Austin introduces them as former tag champions, and then waiting 2 years to get the rematch on TV. He said they're back. Colton said that they hurt people, and he's like, yeah, that's your job, which I thought was kind of funny.
Like that's what wrestlers
That's
do.
how the business works.
That's the whole profession.
And he said it's their job to take back the tag titles. MVP said he respects their courage and respects their father. He said he's about business, so next week he'll give them their title match, the Hurt Syndicate against a couple ass boys. Hurt Syndicate leave after kind of like a bit of a tense stare down. And then Austin said, you're goddamn right we are, and he ends with the guns up.
I thought this was a very good segment. I think
agree.
Hurt Syndicate look amazing in the gold, and like
I think Shelton just looks sick. I like too. Guns are making their entrance, and Lashley and Shelton do not turn at all.
No.
Like MVP's turning to face.
They're not afraid
until they get in the ring. Like Lashley and Shelton just stay facing the hard cam.
And again, let them keep being cool heels. Don't give in just because they're getting cheered. Like just leave them the way they are. Cool heels are fine, right? Like it's not a big deal. And anyways, I support this direction. It kind of make the Guns feel important upon their return, right? Like I
thought the Packers last week was cool, and they do
have some credibility. They are former champions. They have improved a lot, and I think obviously Hurt Syndicate are retaining. But if you want, this could be the starting point for something larger with these two teams, right? Like this can be the first match of whatever, some sort of bigger feud, because I want to elevate these titles. The Hurt Syndicate are the right champions to do this. We need a babyface team to chase and chase and chase. And the reaction the Guns got and their presentation means they could be that person.
I could see it being a feud, but even if it's not, I think getting some semi-regular TV defenses with like a minimal story is also fine, because then it can show that there's a division of people challenging. Like I'd love to see Silver and Reynolds go for it just for fun. You know what I mean? I'd like to see Top Flight go at it just for fun. You know
Helico
what I mean?
and Jack Evans.
And Helico and Jack Evans.
But so Hurt Syndicate are already elevating these titles, and that's what I want, right?
I agree.
Yeah.
I like this. I think MVP is really good. I don't think like the first bit was a ton of note from him, but I like that he's just like, even though they're heels, he's like, we'll take you on because we're gonna hurt you, and so it's fine. Like it works as like fighting heels,
and that
which is tricky to do.
He does all the talking. The other two guys are just there to hurt people.
I think that works.
Win titles
totally
and
fine.
Do nothing else.
Because I don't think either of them have ever been. They're more Roddy Strong than MJF.
Like just stand there, look great, and kill people in the ring.
Their overall presentation is just always fantastic. I was happy to see the Guns finally back. Didn't take long after the vignette last week. The return I'm really happy about is finally Burning Daylight sees the light of day again. Because I didn't think it actually was, but I'm glad to know that it's not dead in the water, because they haven't used it since I want to say it was August or something. That's the last time I remember seeing it all in. But
it's good to hear.
They haven't used it because Juice was using his theme, and then Jay White's been using his theme. Obviously, and the Guns have been out for a bit, so I'm happy that theme's still alive because it's just the best. And that entrance is really cool too. The spotlight thing, it's such a good shtick. So it was just great to see their whole presentation in their entrance.
And the crowd actually reacting to it appropriately.
Yeah, I like that. The theme entrance, the crowd reaction, everything was there. So I thought the Guns looked really good.
Me too.
They sounded good too. I thought Colton sounded pretty good, but I think I told you Austin has
Colton sounds awkward to me
a little bit, but I thought he had some good stuff still.
Yep.
But I think Austin especially has a really strong confidence in delivery. Like he has.
We used to hate these guys.
Delivery. Yeah, I think both of them have improved a bunch. I think Austin, it was more evident, but Colton's not bad either. The Guns are destined to lose next week, but it'll be solid first defense because Lashley and Shelton will look awesome, and the Guns are crazy bump machines. So
they are.
You have to think that's gonna make the Hurt Syndicate look even better. And so if we get a program out of this, I'm totally okay with that. I'd like that. And if it's just a TV defense, that's also fine with me. As long as we continue to elevate the belts, because this is a good start. This is how we need to keep rolling.
And I like the little nugget, too, of MVP being like the only reason we're not choking you out right now is out of respect for your dad, which I thought was a reasonable thing. Like, just a way to acknowledge the fact that your whole brand is you hurt people, you're not hurting them, but also you hurt people for money, right? So
yeah,
I like the kind of like there's no money here, but out of respect for your dad, we're not killing you right now.
And I, again, just like MVP dealing with it in a business manner, because it gives a different feel for a heel group. And yeah, more defenses would be good.
Yep.
Then we get a Harley Quinn interview. She shows up with like a Muppet
of Monet,
like a puppet version of Mercedes Monet doing an impression.
She's good.
She can actually do ventriloquism. She does it a bit later, and she's actually doing the whole shtick. She's mocking Monet. The real Monet shows up and mocks her for getting her first win against Ty Valkyrie. Poor Taya.
Yeah.
And And she says she's the greatest TV. She says the title makes her the greatest TV champion of all time. It's like, and I said, no, it makes you the current champion.
Mm-hmm.
She's saying, like, the belt says I'm the greatest champion. No, it says you're the current champion.
That's right.
And she said Harley's just a loser and she doesn't get to ride the Monet train. She goes in her locker room and Harley like flips her off behind her back. And I hate to say it, but I do think this was pretty amusing.
And when I laughed because when Monet's going on her rant, like Harley's holding the puppet behind her, like it's the puppet of Monet talking.
I did see already some
and
of
then,
her
got caught doing it, sort of thing.
Ventriloquism act on Collision too, and I was just like,
she's funny. I
think her showing off multiple talents like this gives her more appeal. Like this, the guitar, the singing, right? Like having these other things can kind of help get her over, and I think it was amusing. And she can kind of do it on the side. I don't think it means she should win any titles.
No. But there's a niche
she's starting to show she has a place here, right?
Yes.
I don't think it's serious enough for titles unless she becomes way better in the ring. It's like I would say with Jey Uso, because I don't think he deserves titles.
No.
But
you mentioned that.
I do think there's a place for Harley, though, if she continues to be this entertaining.
I do.
Because, like, I'm trying not to laugh because I don't really want to like her, but she is kind of entertaining.
I think WWE will be throwing a pile of cash at her.
I feel like
her
they could,
shtick seems like it's more their style.
I'd like to hear, though, because it has some diversity for AEW, you know what I mean?
She's clearly multi-talented and puts effort into whatever you give her, so she's growing on me for sure.
I agree. I hate to say it, but I agree. It does no favors for Monet since Cameron's way down the pecking order for sure, but it's amusing, so...
Yep.
I don't know, dude. It's not bad. Between this and the guitar song the other week, it's kind of getting me.
I know.
Then we get a Hangman interview. He's getting interviewed by Renee saying that he was in pursuit of Swerve last week. And he said it was a mistake and a moment of weakness. So he tells Renee not to ask about it again. She mentions Christopher Daniels having to retire because of Hangman. And he says he didn't regret it. He said Daniels overstepped his bounds and by having a Texas death match with him. And he didn't regret it. Caster is seen nearby saying he's waited for a long time. He says he should like channel that anger on Bowens and Billy Gunn. He said he would love to do that, but he only sees Caster here, so Caster kind of backs away and Hangman's like, no, I'll follow you. And so that kind of pays off later. I really, really like Hangman.
I still feel like here, and maybe it's just us because we think he's a complex character. I think he was like a guy trying to convince himself that he doesn't.
I agree. I 100% agree because I think what it is that the thing with Daniels clearly affected him a lot, and we see that last week, we see that the week before, and he wanted to kind of, he started to walk back on his crazy self, and maybe like he wanted a truce with Swerve, or wanted to make amends with Swerve, or get some sort of closure, or whatever the goal was, like some sort of reconciliation for whatever purpose, and he got caught lacking because I think he was trying to do that without the cameras there, right? Obviously not trying to be seen. And so now he has to overcorrect himself, and maybe he's trying to convince himself that, like you're saying, he's trying to convince himself he did the right thing, or like or that he doesn't care,
regrets,
right?
Yeah.
And also to overcorrect and make people think he's not going soft in his eyes, right? He's got to go back to the over the top insanity that he had before, right? So he's like, it's like he got caught being human again, and he's like, I can't allow that, right?
Yes.
And I really like that because that feels legitimate.
And Caster made me laugh because he's trying to sick this psychopath on Bowens.
I like that.
And that kind of backfired, and he's scared. So he's the cowardly heel, and that's kind of working for him.
And I like that because then it kind of keeps him on that angry Hangman, but he's going after an obvious heel, so it kind of is also a babyface adjacent for Hangman then. And I like this because, like, I think we'll definitely get the face turn, but it's like he doesn't want to admit he was wrong and lost control as well, right? Like, he doesn't want to admit he went nuts. It's like, no, this is who I am, and I don't regret anything. Yes. But obviously, I think he's starting to, but he doesn't want to, like, admit that and be, like, I guess, be vulnerable like he once was,
That's my interpretation as well.
I just love him so much because it seems real and it's complex, and there's so many things to find interesting. I was thinking for me, I think when he really was heel was when he debuted that new theme and came in the Owen turn. Like, he was definitely a working heel before that, but like when he came back with the new gear and the new theme and everything, that was really heel Hangman. So I think we'll slowly build to the face turn, and I also think we're getting the MJF feud. I think we go back to his old theme, and when we do, that's when we signify the old Hangman's back. Because when we get his old theme song back, that's like...
And I've been saying this company needs a main event babyface, and he can be one.
He is, yeah. I agree. I think Caster was funny trying to pivot. Hangman's crazy to benefit him. And he was carrying around like a plaque with the best wrestler alive trademark, so I thought that was kind of funny. Then we get the Hounds of Hell, which is not House of Black, against Takeshita and Fletcher, and what a gem to get on free TV.
There's a whole bunch of talent in here.
Yeah. Takeshita and Fletcher, they got seated on chairs against the barricade, and King hit the running crossbody.
I think twice even.
Nice. Yeah,
once beside and then once stacked up, I think, right?
He hit it again with them both on one chair. Yeah. Takeshita avoided Gonzo Bomb, then we get a double clothesline with him and Brody. A lightning quick hot tag player from Matthews, and I was just like, he's so good. I love him so much.
He reminds me of Pac quite a bit.
I just think he's so great, and we've said this before, but I
love Pac.
Always,
so it's a high compliment.
I do think, ironically, Buddy Murphy was the successor to Pac when he left 205 Live, because Murphy was like the next best thing.
It's the super jacked lightning quick guys.
Yeah, like I've been a huge fan of Murphy since his 205 Live work. I do remember him being in NXT with Wesley Blake, but I remember that. He never like showed out during that, I feel like. I remember him weirdly having a singles match with Nakamura.
I like that team, and when they were with Bliss, I thought that was a good act.
Yeah, because wasn't he like with Bliss?
I think for a time, so, yes.
Right? I think Bliss was with Noah Jose at one point.
Ew, weird.
I think.
That was a blast from the past.
Yeah. But anyways, I've been a huge fan of Matthews for a long time. So like I saw him here going quick, and he's so good. And he's one of those really cool hybrid guys too. Like he can do strike game, power game. Mm-hmm. He's got some athleticism to him. Like he's just a total package, you know? He hit a Tope con Hilo on Takeshita and Fletcher. He hit Fletcher with the diving Meteor for 2, and I was thinking, like, obviously he's bigger and harder hitting, but like his Meteor is so impactful and better looking than Mane's.
And he only does it once a match. So, you know, leaves us wanting more instead of hitting 7.
He's poised for a dive on the top is Matthews, but Okada's music hits for distraction. Fletcher tries to capitalize. Matthews slips out of a superplex attempt and hits a package super kick in the corner, like the Ospreys move. Matthews and King hit Fletcher with like the cannonball basement dropkick in the corner for 2, which always looks really cool. They used to do that with Black with another dropkick, but now it's just...
That's one of those moves that I think... oh, no, that was a different one. Sorry, I was thinking of Caden Carter there for a minute. There was something later. There was like a drop kick and senton. Was that it? Anyways, go ahead.
That?
Where she does it, and I'm like, it's cool, but she looks so slow doing it. You know what I mean? When I'm like,
Candice LeRae do that in the Rumble.
I'm like, she does cool stuff, but it doesn't look cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that.
Takeshita broke the pin with a diving senton. I think he was a second late there, which looked a little awkward, but wasn't overly noticeable.
Yeah.
Takeshita hit King with a power drive knee on the apron. Fletcher falls to the draping DDT for a near fall. Then Fletcher and Takeshita smash King with a forearm, then a super kick, then a forearm super kick. And Takeshita kind of helps Fletcher get King up for a really nice brainbuster, and Callous Boys pick up the win.
Man, this was just a super entertaining TV match. I thought, what are they called? The Hounds of Hell? They got a lot of time in control.
The barking is over.
And that team, because that's the old school combination of a power guy and a precision speed guy. And I think it works so well with the two of them. They had Okada's theme interrupting there. I thought was a nice touch just to sort of shift the momentum there. And that's a bit of a further that quick start of a program with Buddy, right?
Going, yeah.
And then Fletcher and Takeshita get control late, look really good doing their offense. So I just thought it was an excellent TV tag match. Like again, getting them a win makes sense, right? Going into their main event as you're hoping for. But yeah, really good match.
Yeah, I thought it was great. I mean, it looked great on paper, and I thought it delivered. I love everyone in this match. I would specifically like to see Takeshita and Murphy go at it down the line because that would just be fantastic.
Any combination of these 4, I'm cool with.
Yeah, I'd like the Aussie on Aussie for sure. I feel like Matthews has been over a little more lately. I doubt he beats Okada for his belt, but I would also down the line, I'd be fine with Matthews beating Takeshita for his. I've always been a huge fan of him, like I said.
Just getting Matthews in people's minds as a contender for things can't be bad.
He deserves a lot more.
Don't stop and start him, sort of thing.
Yeah, I agree. And even if we want to push Kim and King as a tag team, I'm okay with that. I just want something prominent for them.
Yes. And they can be baby faces and go after Hurt Business too. Yeah. Like, it's fine.
The match here was enjoyable, though. I thought everyone played their part, and all these guys are fun to watch, so it was never going to be bad. It heats up the Callous Boys before Aussie, where I assume they lose. I'm okay with that, because I feel like if the heels take the loss in Aussie, it bodes well for Fletcher potentially beating Ospreay again. Which I would hope, because I want, like, Fletcher's on the up. You know,
yeah,
he should.
He is.
I feel like at Revolution we could get Ospreay Fletcher 3. We pay that off, and then we could get Omega Takeshita 2 for the international title. I fear Omega wins that, and then we could do, because the rumors him and Okada all in, right? We could do that title for title. Yep. But I do have faith in Takeshita. I will
merge the titles. Get rid of some.
Regardless, I will pick Takeshita to win that if that happens, because TOE.
That's it.
Then we get Samoa Joe and Hook backstage, back to doing their thing. They're looking around for the patriarchy. They find Christian's locker room. They go in, and it's just Nick Wayne and Sabian, so that we end up getting a brawl. We see Christian and Mother Wayne looking in as the fight goes on. They just kind of dip out.
Christian made me laugh here.
Yeah, and then Joe and Hook have beaten them up. They leave, and then Christian.
What happened?
They go in, and he's like, "What, guys? What happened?" And so
really funny.
I like this because this is what they were doing. Joe and Hook were doing with Shibata as the camera guy. Remember, before Joe left to do his thingy. So I enjoyed it.
I'm sorry, got forklifted through a paper wall. Okay?
Yeah. This is what helps Hook because Joe's a master, and Joe's just the cool veteran, and like this is what helps Hook. I mean, I still don't care about him, but
my first thing is Joe makes Hook infinitely more interesting.
Yeah,
it's just a believable badass, right?
It sucks, but Wayne and Sabian get chumped out again. No surprise. I thought Christian and Mother Wayne were pretty funny.
And in a way, this whole thing is a little bit beneath Joe, but I mean,
at this stage in his career,
you gotta use Joe. Use him. Don't have him off TV. He's so good at everything.
And at this stage in his career, it makes more sense for him to be helping dudes as well. So it's fine.
No problem with it.
Then we hear from MJF, and oh boy, I don't like this. So it's really no fault of his.
It's funny because my first thing is I audibly groaned when MJF came out, and that is crazy. It's the fact
it's not on him because MJF's fantastic.
He's an amazing performer, but he's tangled up in.
It's because we know what he comes with.
And the second garbage angle in a row for him. They've got me cringing when MJF comes in.
The only saving grace is that I think we're priming him for a all-time feud.
I hope so.
With Hangman, but
I hope so.
He says he taught Jared a lesson because he wouldn't stay of his business. AEW does not stand for all elderly wrestling. I agree.
But it kind of does. Question mark at this point? A little bit?
Yeah. He says he's one step closer to reclaiming the Triple B. Max Caster runs out as he's still on the run from Hangman. He bumps MJF in the ring. He keeps saying Hangman. Hangman's music comes out. He storms out to get Caster. Caster runs out. Hangman and MJF bump into each other again. They stand off a bit. Then Hangman resumes pursuing Caster. I really like that, but I'll come back to it. MJF complains about being interrupted by that talentless hack. And then on cue, Dustin Rhodes comes out. Burn. He yaps, but he's like yapping about MJF insulting her in the back or whatever. He's also friends with Owen Hart, believe it or not.
I believe it. He's 60.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised. He yells about MJF bringing up wives and past issues because like he had issues before in Demons. He's like, I faced the devil because I'm a Christian, and I kicked his face in because I'm a Christian.
55.
Yada yada yada. MJF goes to dark places, yada, yada, yada. I'm a survivor, yada, yada, yada. I'm the last of my kind. Then I've been through it all. I'm still hanging with the roster. Not, because he's 55. Then MJF says his years of being a drug addict must have turned his brain to Swiss cheese for him to think he's better than MJF. I love that, like, in one line, MJF's infinitely better than everything Dustin said. I hate the road, like, road traveled, battle worn veteran, grizzled, fired up
and down those roads.
Yeah, the country fired up thing that Dustin does. It's so black to me, and so many people love this promo. But we'll talk about it momentarily. He says my favorite line was probably it took Dustin's 37 years to get out of his father's shadow, only for him to end up overshadowed by his baby brother,
right?
Which is crazy, but it is true. Dustin punches Max, pull apart ball, low blow from MJF.
Yeah, Dustin showed good fire. I don't think there was anything wrong with his performance, but the fact remains he's 55 and taking up TV time from younger, better talent. I'm not interested in seeing him 20. I know I'm that guy. I don't need to see these guys. This roster is stacked with awesome young talent, and you're dusting off Dustin Rhodes. His performance was totally fine, if not good here, but you can't salvage this for me. And I don't know what it's like they locked MJF up and then went, haha, we've got you committed forever, so now we can just, for a while, put you in garbage.
Yeah.
And then hopefully, though, as you said, and I'm sure you're going to talk about, he's going to escape this and go somewhere with Paige.
Yeah, let's talk about the first part. I just love how they keep finding ways for Hangman and MJF to, like, accidentally interact and, like, have these brief standouts kind of, like, breadcrumb and tease this feud. Like, I like how we're working our way there, and MJF keeps getting more and more annoyed that Hangman kind of like is interrupting his business. So it's like he's doing this feud with these old farts, but we're kind of slowly inching our way to something worth like his time.
And how many times in what I would call peak AEW did we say that phrase, they're breadcrumbing this, right? Which is, that was when things were awesome and several stories were just slowly percolating and building. And sometimes people were already in a feud with someone, but you could see
that's why I like the Omega Powers thing, right? Because there's so many individual dynamics in that.
So that was when we were getting peak from this company. So I'm hoping it's
also when Jeff Jarrett wasn't here.
We're coming back around. Yeah, that's true.
This is pointless, though. Dustin had great energy and everything, but it's just a waste of time.
Correct.
He's like Jarrett. He cannot hack it with the current generation. He says he's still going to... You can't.
He can hit a destroyer, though. I think people like... I feel like internet people are like, yeah, but he hits destroyers. Well, cool.
Half the work is the other guy.
Yeah.
So, like... And I don't care. Like, Ricky Morton can do a destroyer.
Mm-hmm.
He's old.
He is old.
Well, Dustin's old, but, like, you get what I'm saying. It's a waste of time. He can't go with these people. He does not belong here. Why does he have 2 different belts in ROH? Because ROH is dead, but yes. I don't actually know the legitimate reason. His spiel about facing the devil and yada is hokey religion crap I find stupid. Like, it's this dumb crap that's supposed to make him, like, tough and, like, battle tested, you know, like, whatever.
Grizzled veteran.
Grizzled, that's the word. Thank you. He's, like, this grizzled veteran, like, and he's, like... It's supposed to make him, like, tough and, like, fired up and impassioned. Like, it's supposed to be intense. It's just, like, I'm not buying it. It's stupid. You're stupid.
And if you're a Dynamite watch, he's just kind of coming out of nowhere. It's not like he's involved in anything.
He said he had Jarrett's back the other week randomly, and it was just kind of pointless. MJF looks like an idiot dealing with these washed oldies. Like, Dustin adds nothing to this, and it serves to benefit nobody. Of course, he was turned to 0-2, because why else would he be here? And it's funny to imagine this super serious promo, and then I see, he's got to have his face painted.
I almost feel like Owen Hart's going to be a surprise guest somehow. You know, it's going to be a real surprise. They refer to him so much.
Martha Hart, special guest referee.
It's Owen Hart. Oh, my God. It's the Blue Blazer.
That's harsh. Dustin's over the top, pandering, struggling, fired up babyface shtick. This reeks of Cody to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, parts of this promo, just he's just begging for sympathy and, like, for the crowd to empathize with him, and just he wants to be like oppressed, and like he's Cody's brother. He is Cody's brother.
The victim complex.
It just does not resonate with me. It feels like forced drama and forced emotion that does not feel real. Like, it's like this pandering babyface. He's struggling. He's been battle tested his entire career, and he's so old, but he's still hacking it. Like, I don't feel bad for you. Please retire.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's such a waste of MJF's immense talent, and I cannot wait for this Hangman feud that will finally be worth his time.
Hope so.
Then we get Toni Storm versus... Why did I write Toni Storm versus Mariah May? That's not right.
It's Queen Amanata.
Queen Amanata, as I'm going to...
Because it is Mariah May. You got confused.
Yeah. Storm's playing the role of Mariah May, which, like the Dustin segment, is something people loved that I didn't. I'm not saying this is bad. It's just I don't care.
Yeah, it was fine.
It's just I don't like. It's more of an issue with her character at this point. So we'll get there. She did like the stratosphere kind of hurricane, the handstand hurricane around the corner, and did May's running shotgun dropkick, which I thought was pretty spot on, honestly, the way May does it.
Mm-hmm.
So that was fair. That got a 2 count. Slap fight. Storm loses hair extensions constantly.
She does.
And like the difference in shade of blonde, I could tell the difference.
I could not. No surprise.
I knew that. German suplex and a running basement kick against the ropes from Amanata. Running knee from Storm, hip attack, and Mayday from Storm for the win. After the match, Storm's basically just taunting May, and May leaves.
Yeah, I thought the Mariah May was on commentary, and the one thing I wrote that was funny when she said, "I wonder how much Tony had to alter the ring gear." I think implying that their dimensions in certain areas are different, which was funny. I thought the match was fine. Amanata's stuff looks cool generally. I think you said it in the match, and I agree. I don't think that Storm's antics should matter to May or bother her. Because last week I was just saying, like, I love that Mariah May's not sweating Toni Storm, right?
I do like that she gets annoyed that everyone's enabling this, like, psychotic
That's
woman.
fine.
I think that's fair, but she shouldn't
you guys
be,
have coddled her and enabled this, and
she shouldn't be irritated that Storm's imitating her. And for me, I thought when May imitated Storm, I thought that was really funny, and it was also kind of cool because it came out of nowhere. Remember at Revolution last year?
And it's a heel mocking a face, which is more consistent too.
They were both kind of heels. It wasn't even like she was mocking Storm. But remember, she was like,
she was just. Oh, that's right. Sorry.
Remember, but like that was cool because it came out of left field, and I thought it was Storm. Remember when she did the entrance, but this is just like and it feels like the same stale bit. And also, just like I said, Storm's character is so goofy and hokey and stupid, and May's like legitimate.
Yeah.
So it just doesn't work. Like,
and everybody fawning all over the person who's like either
demented.
just lying and pretending or suffering a mental illness.
No, this is the real person. She was playing Toni Storm.
Right.
This is a real person.
And we're all just like, okay.
I want you to remember that we have established in the canon that no matter how ridiculous this gets, this is a real person.
That's right.
Like, that's the issue, right? It's just she's not a real person. Like, so many people love this, but it just didn't hit the same as when May did the imitation. And it shouldn't have bothered May. As long as May wins this match, it's fine. But if May loses, I'm gonna be pissed.
I agree. I'm a bit worried.
I am too, and I don't think we should be enabling this character. I agree with May, but
have the character not as your.
I disagree.
Main champion. Have it.
I think you could have said that before, but I think this character's run its course. I think it's been Collision. Way too long. That's fine, but like, I just think this character's run too long.
Yeah.
Like, it's stupid. It does. We said this a while ago. Like, it was kind of, there were some vignettes where it was funny, but I just don't think it has the legs to be this. It doesn't have the longevity.
I agree.
And I think it's already run too long. I think bringing it back was a mistake. We had an opportunity to do something where we could have just ignored it, but we had to insist that this is the real Toni Storm.
People love it,
which is absolutely ridiculous. People are stupid. People think that Jey Uso's good.
They do.
Dustin Rhodes promo. People have been trying to put him on the ground for years. Yada yada. He's faced so much adversity, and people just hate. Oh, people just have been trying to take him out for years.
My entire notes are more Dustin Rhodes ? ! Only half paid attention.
He's here for a reason. He's gonna be MJF's ass. Yada yada. He's old. I said I don't care. Go away.
Yeah, I have nothing.
We get a recap of the Big Bill Hobbs stuff. I'm glad Bandito's back from concussion already because he's back involved in this.
That's awesome.
So it's not awesome that he's involved with Jericho. It's good that he's back.
He's back and that he wasn't out long.
Yeah. Jericho is talking
bit
to
of a
my
lull
face.
here in the show with a bunch of stuff here.
He said nobody wants Bandito. That I disagree. Look in the mirror. He said on Collision, you talk about the bounty on Bandito because those wanted posters from the vignettes,
right?
Which I don't think were real, but Jericho's maybe an idiot. I don't know.
Possibly.
He doubles the reward if Brian Keith can take him out like Baby Bill's done to Hobbs. Hobbs comes out to brawl with them. Outrunners help him. Him and Bill take out security guards. Bill and Hobbs brawl again. Camera guy gets knocked over. Go to commercial. I hate this so much. I want this gimmick to die. Following Dustin Rhodes with this is not the play. Brian Keith is a heater to lose to Bandito. That's cool. I've said it before, but Brian Keith's a complete idiot, and he looks like a dumbass.
My notes say Outrunners have gotten over with the fans, but I bet Jericho can find a way to bury them.
Yeah.
I have a bit of interest in Bill and Hobbs, to be honest.
I think despite how much I hate the Learning Tree, I do like what they're doing with Hobbs and Bill. I think it's a solid Hoss feud, and I think it's really cool.
Despite Jericho, not because of him.
Yeah. I think most of the brawls are interesting, though, since we already had one, but Hobbs and Bill are the only cool part.
I agree.
I just think Jericho sucks ass, and Brian Keith's a walking idiot. Like, he just...
And we kind of like him.
I did like him. Honestly, at this point, I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, they just ruined him for me, honestly. Then we get to our main event, which is Ricochet and Swerve Strickland.
And I will say, I feel like it's been a while since I've said this about AEW. I wasn't entirely sure who was going to win this match.
Yeah, and I think you've been saying
I had a leaning,
we need more, like, star-powered or meaningful main events.
Like Raw's been smashing it lately.
This is what we need.
Yes, this is similar.
I'll talk about it later, but I did write that, like, we can't have good feuds like this being paid off every week, but you can have more star power or meaningful main events. Like, I would argue you could do Omega Powers versus Murder Machines as a main event because it would further the story and it would have some decent star power, right? Like, not stuff like Copeland and Pac. It doesn't feel super main event to me just because you know exactly who's going to win. And I think you also know who's going to win with Omega Powers and Murder Machines, but I feel like there's more of a story to be told there. Like, there's nothing... Because if you tell it the way I'm suggesting, right, where you're setting up tension between Omega and Ospreay, there's something to come out of this main event, and there's something to further the storyline. But with Copeland and Pac, it was just Pac's a heater for Moxley.
That's right.
That could be like an opener in the middle of the show, and nothing changes. I think if we left the show off on not knowing where Omega and Ospreay stand, I think that does make it a worthwhile main event, right? It's like, it's kind of like, obviously to a lesser degree, but like I think of Rumble 23 when you have Roman and Owens, and then that led to Sammy turning on Roman. So it's like this big angle that you leave the show off on, and so that justifies it being last on the card. So that would be to me a worthy Dynamite main event because there's like a reason for it being last, right?
Yep.
This, it's like a marquee feud we've been building. It's like not the blow off, but it's like a payoff of sorts to that. So this does justify being a main event. And so I was just saying it doesn't always have to be like a major feud payoff, but we do need some more.
What Raw's got going on
events.
is it's like there's this 6-pack or so of like really, really top talent who all have history with each other that we're now allowed to acknowledge and remember, instead of in the redacted guy area just being like, the fans are idiots, they don't remember anything 2 weeks later. So you can just kind of randomly is the wrong word, but put them in a main event, and it's like interesting.
Kind of cobble it together in different combinations.
Because they are acknowledging, like, I still have issues with you. Like, Rollins is going, like, years and years back. Like, I want nothing to do with this guy or anybody that has anything to do with this guy.
Well, his history with Roman quite literally stretches over a decade now,
so it's working. And this match felt like, yes, this is a worthy main event.
Yeah. Ricochet attacks Swerve with a chair during his entrance. Right as the bell rings, he absolutely smashes Swerve with a pump knee. And he hits Vertigo off the bat for 2.
Mm-hmm.
Swerve tries to leapfrog over Ricochet. Ricochet caught him with a dropkick to the gut to knock him down. Ricochet went for a Hurricane Run off the barricade. Swerve counters and powerbombed him on the top of like the LED barricade. So it was a little thicker, so it's a bit of a better landing, but still looked
awesome.
Nasty.
Yeah.
If we get instead of whose house, Swerve's house, we get who's bald Ricochet chance.
Yeah, the crowd loves to pick on bald Ricochet.
It's awesome. And I think it's perfect for his heel character too. We get strike exchange and a back and forth. Swerve does like that power bomb position into like the power slam, which I think is always really cool looking.
It does, because you're like at one point you're like, well, power bombs are really cool, but honestly, that into the power slam looks
it's just
good.
unique because I don't see a lot of people do stuff like that.
Yeah.
We get a house call and a Swerve stomp for 2. German suplex on the apron from Ricochet. Springboard 450 splash from Ricochet for 2. And then he hits a shooting star to Swerve's back for 2. He loads up for the spirit gun, but Swerve catches him with a nice house call. Then goes for a Swerve stomp, but Ricochet, they got his arms up to like block it, but it caused like an accidental low blow, and he capitalizes with a spirit gun for the win. And after the match, he like shoves Nana down and takes the embassy robe.
I kind of like that. I thought this was a really good main event. Super fast pace, obviously, with these two guys. The crowd's really engaged. I think the finish is awesome because
I think it kind of works either way.
The type of heel Ricochet is, it's almost better that it was like, I didn't even intend to low blow him, but I'm sure going to capitalize on it because I'm just a little weasel like that.
I think it's kind of debatable, and for me it works either way, because either it was a cheap tactic because he's a dick and he's going to do that, or he's such a chicken heel that he covered up and it's just a benefit of his cowardice.
Yes.
But then it works either way, right?
I think it was, I'm protecting my face on this. Oh, it happened to be a low blow. Awesome. I'll capitalize.
Yeah.
Right. So I think taking the robe as a trophy is another good heel move, right? And it looks so flashy and important, and they keep telling us that this is Swerve's treasured garment and blah, blah, blah. So the crowd loves to hate Ricochet at this point. So a very good win for him. And obviously him taking the robe is like, this is not over, and I am fine with that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought very satisfying main event, I thought.
Yeah, for sure. I thought it was a strong TV match, worthy main event. And like I said, not every week we need to be paying off views, but more star-powered, meaningful main events like this are good. And like sometimes the main events are too one-sided, right? So we need more stuff like what Raw's been offering.
Yeah.
It's what I expected, though. It was kept short for TV and a precursor of bigger matches to come, but it's still really good. Ricochet's in peak heel form with the pre-match attack. He was healing up the whole time. Some great back and forth, some cool spots. The barricade powerbomb was nasty, and Ricochet's knee strike at the bell was gnarly. Finish was done well. Like I said, whichever way you look at it, I think it works for Ricochet. And it gets him a win, since I think Swerve's definitely coming for a rematch or two.
For sure.
And he'll probably get the win in the end.
I think so. Good episode. I was torn between two grades here. And I think I'm going with the lower one because there was that, as you recapped, a little run of stuff that was not great.
Yeah, there was like a good run, then it dipped for a bit, and then kind of came back with the main event.
So I was going to go B+, but I'm going to go with B. I thought the strength of the main event, again, being an actual, to me, main event where I'm not 100% sure who's winning because these guys are in a feud and are at sort of a similar level. So I really like that. Obviously, the stuff with Dustin Rhodes, far too much of him on this program for me. Awesome tag match in the Hounds of Hell and Fletcher Takeshita. Cameron's entertaining. I'm almost talking myself back into the B+, because I really liked Osprey Davis. I really liked the Hurt Syndicate stuff, right? So I'll go B+. I will go B+ this week. Because the stuff that wasn't good was a small percentage, right? And there was enough of good that was a larger percentage. That I'm going to stick with my original gut,
Yeah,
which
I
was B
think all
plus
them
this week.
great matches really do outweigh the segment media
Yes.
like, and even there was a part of it like with Hangman being in there. So I agree with the B plus. Like I think we've got booking it by some really good matches. The tag match is really fun, and like the Hurts and Nick segment was really nice with the guns. I really like that. I even like the opening brawl and whatever was solid. And like the only misstep was really just Dustin Rhodes
Yes.
and Jericho, I guess. But most of this was really good. Like I think especially having a worthwhile main event is really important.
That's my final decision. Is that was a real legit main event for me.
Yeah, I agree. I think B plus is fair.
Good. All right, so we'll pause from the analysis, get into a little bit of trivia. I've got something prepared for Jack. We call it Off the Top of His Head. Trivia this week, I wanted Rumble related, but it's hard after 5 years of doing this to find original stuff. And maybe I haven't, but I don't. Good thing with having a bad memory is even if we've done this before, I don't know. And I don't care. So I looked up. It is going to be like the shortest times in the Rumble, basically. So rapid Rumble eliminations is what I'm calling it. So I don't know if you'll know these or not. I'm going to start down at 15. And now when you use these AI things, this one is giving me 2 different lists and they're not the same. So it's like it's compiling from 2 sources. So I don't know which way to go. So first one, number 15. I don't think they're going in order of fastest. They're just kind of randomly. So don't think we're counting down to faster. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So in 2019, in 3 seconds, swiftly eliminated by Drew McIntyre. It's a tough one. I think this is going to be hard. Any guess?
2019?
Yeah.
Ali?
No.
No, you got to toss about Nia Jax, I think.
It is Xavier Woods. This is going to be hard. 2019, 5 seconds, quickly eliminated by Kurt Hawkins. And this person is much more famous for a Rumble thing. You actually referred to him. And that if he had done the same thing, he would be paralyzed this year. He's famous for a big botch.
I don't know.
He tripped and fell.
Oh, Titus?
Yeah. Someone was running down. Yeah.
I don't even know if Kurt Hawkins was in that match.
That might not be right. 2013, he made a surprise return and was eliminated in 5 seconds by Dolph Ziggler.
Which year?
2013. Surprise return.
Jericho?
Nope. This one is like the hardest trivia ever. He was in many factions and was a huge larger-than-life character. He's been many different characters. You have a figure of him as his least known character, maybe somewhere. I don't know if it's up there anymore.
Walter?
No. Sorry, Godfather. I may have to give you a bunch of these.
Kama's over
Kama
there.
Mustafa. Yeah, he's over there. This guy, 6 seconds, super jobber, 99 Royal Rumble, eliminated by Edge.
Sorry, I was looking at the Kurt Hawkins thing. What's
super jobber, 1999, eliminated by Edge.
Like what, Gilbert?
Yes, good. Super jobber. Another one? So 2000.
Kurt Hawkins one is right, actually.
This is a duplicate of a previous guy. Eliminated almost instantly upon entering in 2015. They're saying
Titus O'Neil.
4 seconds, yeah.
Yeah, so he got tossed out by Ambrose and Roman, and he botched it because he was supposed to. They were going to try to top the Santino record.
Oh right.
He botched
right.
Over
so he
the
botches
ropes,
multiple things.
So yeah, they were trying to get him the fastest record.
I would get this one, so I think you will too. 4 seconds, 97, entered the Rumble from the commentary table, eliminated by Bret Hart.
Lawler.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
1991. This person, 4 seconds, and this matters, marched into the Royal Rumble immediately, tossed out by Earthquake.
Was it one of the Bushwhackers?
It was. Which one? Pick one.
Butch.
Oh, Luke. 50-50. 2024. One of your faves, rapid elimination. 3 seconds, they're saying.
Oh.
Currently injured.
McDonough?
Yeah. Does that sound right?
I remember him getting done dirty.
Greatest Royal Rumble, 3 seconds. Eliminated by Mark Henry. His wife just left AEW.
Wife?
My understanding. He's still there. I do not like him or the tag team he is a part of. Very much.
What tag teams in AEW do you not like?
I felt bad for him in WWE with some of the gimmick they gave him. What tag team do I really, really not like? They don't get a lot of TV time.
I don't. No, there should be. Oh, Mike Bennett.
Correct. It's like Meg gave you enough
Kanellis.
hints. This guy's name has come up a bunch today. 1995, 3-second elimination, it says. Eliminated by the British Bulldog.
1995. That one was one of the Bear
We've
Rumbles.
mentioned him a bunch. He is no longer living.
Mentioned him a bunch.
Today already.
Who would I mention? I don't know. Who am I mentioning? That's
Jeff Jarrett's best friend.
Oh, Owen Hart.
Yeah.
Okay.
1995. 3 seconds. Good luck getting this one. Eliminated by King Kong Bundy shortly after entering.
Eli Blue.
So it's a tag team guy, but the much lesser of one. So the
Janetti of a tag.
The huge partner became a singles person, and the smaller guy just kind of disappeared. Not that he was small, but smaller. Think of a really not good big man that they dabbled in pushing a little bit.
Oh, Mabel?
Mo? Mo is correct. This name actually came up today as well as dating somebody. 2019, 2 seconds, eliminated almost immediately.
Andrade.
No.
Oh, no, Jose.
Yeah. I don't know if that's true or not, but.
Is that 2019? I think I still have it up. Yeah, he was eliminated by Joe in 2 seconds.
There you go. This guy, 2 seconds, 2018, eliminated by Heath Slater.
Sheamus.
Wow, how you know that one?
Yeah, I remember that one. They actually mentioned it in the Rumble this year. They just didn't mention Heath Slater, but I do remember that one because it was that Rumble. Remember where Slater came out and Corbin had just been eliminated, so he decked Slater, and then remember a bunch of people would take out Slater as they were walking down. Like Elias kicked him. I think Bray Wyatt took him out.
Don't remember.
And then when Sheamus entered, he threw Slater in the ring, and when Sheamus came in, Slater took him out immediately.
Wow, good memory. Second last one, 2 seconds, 1989. Eliminated by Hulk Hogan, so that's not helpful. Think of possibly the most allegedly roided out person you can at that time period, in my opinion.
Warlord.
Correct. It's a good hint because there's a lot of
I actually do
allegedly roided out people at that time.
I remember him having a notoriously big physique at that time because that was when he got repackaged with like the silver helmet, right?
Crazy big, yeah.
And he looked like Stone Cold on roids.
And then what's the number one because it was the shortest, I think?
Santino,
2009. That's
Kane.
correct. By Kane, correct. All right, so that was tough, but you got a bunch anyways. Now we'll get back into the final segment. I think we might have time to power through it. We'll talk about anything else we watched and want to discuss. It's what we call Highspots and Restholds. All right, going back in time a little bit to Raw. Quickly, Jey Uso is out to start, and he basically, because of the reaction, he gets them to play his theme twice so that the nonsense can be double long, is what my notes say. Basically, he worked hard for 15 years. People think he's just a tag wrestler, etc. Gunther comes out to tell Jey that Jey cannot lace Gunther's boots, and if Jey chooses to go after Gunther's title, then Gunther will put him through hell, and WrestleMania will be the most horrible display of violence that this business has ever seen. Jey said that he was going to go to SmackDown and holler at Cody, that whoever he chooses, he's walking into WrestleMania as the 2025 Royal Rumble winner. That is a fact, I guess. And again, it looks like Gunther's role at Mania is to lose his title to Jey Uso.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't
100%.
I don't know. No shot Jey chooses Cody, right? Cody's on a pedestal, I think, beyond Jey's grasp.
Yep.
Right?
Because he's not a real main eventer.
Right. So, I don't know. Jey was emotional, blah, blah, blah. Great job. Don't care. Cena clip tells us that he'll be in the Elimination Chamber as well.
Apparently, he's not planning to appear till that.
I imagine he wins that, I would think, yes?
Yeah. If they had to have Jey win the Rumble, then yeah.
All right. That's how it feels. Penta beat Kaiser in a good competitive TV match again. Same formula. Penta's opponent gets a lot of time in control. Penta looks good hitting his signature stuff and wins in about 10 minutes. It's pretty much been that is the formula for him so far. Then Jackie talks to Penta after the match and Pete Dunne walks out. Kaiser attacks Penta from behind. And then Kaiser and Dunne kind of exchange a look as Kaiser leaves. So again, Dunne and Kaiser, some sort of alliance, I think, happening here.
Do something with Pete Dunne.
If it starts getting them both some wins or tag team wins or something, I'm fine with it, right?
Anything for Pete Dunne.
Charlotte comes to the ring and does not receive a very positive reaction. And this is where I said Jack points out she's basically Cody. I couldn't agree more. Very good, but not great in ring and just incapable of presenting herself as a babyface at this point. She says she wasn't sure she'd return. She's divorced now. She missed the fans. She's really great, and I cannot muster sympathy for her. She's like, oh, this year was so tough. I got injured. I got divorced. I missed you guys so much. It's like, boo. It was pretty awesome, actually. Rhea Ripley shows up. She says it's her show. Makes some sort of comment about Charlotte being old. I think it was like, I was watching you when I was a kid or something, which was kind of funny. Something about respect. She wants Charlotte to pick her so that she can beat some respect into Flair. And we're now 2 for 2 with angles that don't really interest me for Mania. But these two are capable of really good matches, right? Because I think they had one that I really liked.
That was the
We're at
39
1-1,
one,
right?
Yeah. They are at 1-1.
Yeah, so that makes sense, I
At
guess.
Mania specifically, so that's the interesting part.
So I just have to be like, in a vacuum, they could have a good match, even if I don't believe Charlotte as any sort of babyface. Sami Zayn is backstage, happy for Jey Uso, even though Jey eliminated him from the Rumble. Cross shows up, wonders what, and I like what you're saying with Cross, right? He's here going, I wonder what it's like for Zayn to watch everybody else live out Sammy's dream. So it's these little subtle comments that get the thoughtful people sort of thinking, right? So I like that. I don't really want this angle either, but is this what Sammy's doing for Mania? It looks like not, right? So
I think it's him and Owens.
I do too. So, but yeah, this is not the worst version of Karrion Kross by a long shot, and I don't even think it hurts him that he's alone and doesn't have a group to support him anymore.
Like I said, I don't think AOP are essential to this part of the act.
I don't
just
think
like
so.
his heaters if he needed fall guys.
Right.
Like, and like it just, I don't know. Like he can manipulate the Miz. It just means he's not feuding with the faction anymore, which is fine because the faction was
mid, as the kids say. Rhea Ripley walks up to Io Sky backstage. Sky says maybe she'll see her at WrestleMania. Liv then attacks Sky, sends her into an equipment case. Ripley chases Liv away. Raquel pushes Rhea over the barricade. Liv and Raquel laugh and leave. New Day finally get a win at the expense of Dragon Lee and Rey Mysterio. Shocked it was actually Mysterio took the pin and not Dragon Lee. Logan Paul interference leads to Rey getting pinned after the Trouble in Paradise. The match was fine. Paul is adding some heat. He has a match with Rey, I think, coming up next week. So they're just creating some heat for that while helping New Day finally get a win after a long time of not. CM Punk was interviewed by Kathy Kelly. Punk said he didn't win the Rumble, but at least Reigns and Rollins didn't either. He apologizes to Sami Zayn, saying that it will be Punk who goes on to Elimination Chamber because they're in a qualifier match in the main event of this. Kind of feels to me like they're doing like a finish the story with Punk, right? But his story is just get in the main event because it's been years and years and he never got it.
I don't think he needs to
blah blah.
He doesn't need a world title run.
No, and I think he's getting his wish main eventing, as we said in that triple threat. Liv Morgan beat Io Sky in an Elimination Chamber qualifier. The match was pretty good. Rhea comes down to sort of get even with Rodriguez on the outside, and then Liv ends up grabbing Rhea. Rhea ends up punching Liv in the face, and that gives a DQ win for Liv. So Io Sky is rightfully pissed about this, and Ripley tries to apologize to her. So it kind of all makes sense, right? Liv gets in the chamber in a cheap way so she can get some heat, and that makes sense.
Do you think they're doing the last chance match, or like I don't know if they still do that in the main roster?
Oh yeah,
I know they did that for the Survivor thing. I don't think they did that last year, so I don't think they will. But I'm like, I don't remember for certain.
I don't remember either. And it seems like now this is a Ripley EO program starting. So is that your title match at Chamber?
I mean, I feel like Charlotte's gonna lean towards Stratton, so maybe
Mania though. I'm thinking.
Mania. I guess
they get this out of the way at Elimination Chamber.
Yeah, that's fair. I could see that because I don't think either of them returning. EO could turn heel actually.
AJ Styles will be on Raw officially. Braun tells Pierce to basically keep Styles away from him. So I imagine the exact opposite will happen, right? Which
Braun
is fine.
and AJ sounds awesome.
It does, right?
That to me sounds like a chamber match because I think Braun Sheamus at Mania. Sheamus wins the title.
And that's such a quality win for Braun, and you can always.
And it gets AJ in something important.
And AJ has the pedigree where I don't care if he walks right into a title match.
That's true. That's true.
So no problem. Rollins in the ring. He congratulates Jay, mocks Punk for not winning and getting eliminated by Logan Paul. Roman didn't win either, and he's hurt because Rollins hurt him. For the past 4 years, Reigns has done nothing but hurt his friends and family, and he'd do it to Rollins if he had a chance. Reigns loves his limited schedule, so Rollins actually did him a favor, which I thought was funny. Like, hey, man, you really like not working, so I took you out. Rollins knew.
Yeah, I saw someone saying that too. Like, they were talking about how he has injuries, and it's like a kayfabe thing, I think.
Yeah.
But it's like, he's not here anyway, so you don't need to write him off.
No. Rollins' new path to Mania will go through Elimination Chamber, and he calls out Sami Zayn. He tries to motivate Sami to beat Punk in the main event. since Punk doesn't deserve to be in the chamber because he has proven he does not care about WWE. Fine stuff again. I'm liking everything Rollins is kind of doing because he's ditched the whole whatever that stupid character was he was doing that I couldn't stand.
Like, I guess the visionary thing. I don't
He
know
now feels like a real person, and we're just sprinkle that in occasionally, which works way better for me. The main event was Zayn and Punk, and unfortunately, as you would expect, Punk qualifies for the chamber here. It was the first time ever matchup for these guys. So that's cool.
Yeah, I think that makes sense because Punk hasn't had a lot of matches since he's returned.
And another example of a really good main event, right? They're on a roll with again, it's this like, whatever, this 6-pack of guys that all have stuff going on, and you can put them in any combination. You're going to get a good match, and sometimes the winner is in doubt. I was pretty sure Punk was winning this one. So 15 minutes long, Punk hits the GTS for the win. Some great near falls for Sammy, one where I think he countered the GTS into an inside cradle that was pretty believable. And then you have Owens come out right after, and he attacks Sammy, hits a package pile driver. So as you said, sort of retaliating for doing nothing in his match with Cody, being there and not choosing a side at all.
Yeah.
So Owens is pissed. Looks like we're getting the Sammy Owens program, which I'm fine with, even though we've seen it a million times. I don't care, right? NXT opens with JC Jane and Vaquer. So Jane takes shortcuts as she would, capitalizes on a Henley distraction. But Vaquer hits her usual good offense. The crowd's really into Vaquer, and a high cross. Nix comes in. So this was, I don't know if you saw this because I saw a lot of complaints about this. Jasmine Nix comes in to break up the pinfall, but misses and sort of, I think, hit Jane. And the ref is like, no problem. It's like it didn't happen. Like, just come in like it's a tag match and try and break up the pinfall. No problem.
Dude, I did not know about that.
Anyways, Vaquer hits her finishing backbreaker that did not look great here. And win. So solid 11 minutes. Of course, Vaquer was winning. The action was pretty good. The finish was ridiculous. They're all like, oh, it's referee discretion, right? Is what their fallback.
Which is usually not what they do.
And Vaquer's finisher, she has so much cool stuff she can do.
It's a cool move, but it's just not like a finisher.
And this one, it looked like she didn't really hit it very hard, right? So I think she needs to find something else. But anyways, Zarya is critical of Lash's. This is backstage, obviously. Critical of Lash's Rumble performance, and also pointing out the Meta 2 lost their tag team title shot. Sol Ruka's trying to play peacemaker, and Zarya's like, no, I meant what I said. So then Tatum, Paxley, Gigi, and Shotzi walk in, and they sort of try to defend Lash and Jackson, and Zarya gets in Dolan's face before leaving. So I am thrilled that Zarya is showing some fire and leaning a bit away from, like, you're just the average girl backstage, even though you're...
It doesn't really... Like, she's not like Ruka, so it's kind of weird.
I hate the way she's been booked. Like, you're this big, powerful looking with the hair and makeup and stuff.
They gave her, like, those apocalyptic vignettes, right?
Yeah, and then it's just like, nope, you're just a regular girl backstage.
Yeah, they walked back on it.
Just another baby face in the women's locker room. So... I'm glad that it looks like they're shifting gears from that, because she should be presented as I get, like, okay, we brought all three in at the same time. We want to focus on Julia and Vaquer and sort of back burner Zarya, but this is not the way to do it.
Yeah.
Lexis King is officially heel again in a promo.
His, like, look is...
Oh, he got called out because...
bananas.
Yeah, well, there's a surprise appearance here, I'm sure you heard.
Yeah.
Lots of talk of his dad, and he just said he basically realized that he was at his best when he was his dad's son. He's true to himself. Which is funny, because then what's the last, like, couple months been? Like, I'm always true to myself, except when you're pretending to be a baby face for 2 months. Anyways. So he strips the Heritage Cup from being anything unique or cool, so it's just a match now.
Which I was saying
Is it storyline or real?
I think it's real.
Damn it.
I think it's real just because that match doesn't play well to TV.
It doesn't, but it was cool. So now it's just like another belt.
I also don't think it's been cool for a while. Like, I think it was cool in Darda, or like... When they would let me on Peleas, they also don't put it on Peleas because Peleas, there's no commercials, so it does play well, but they don't do that anymore. So I don't like the move, but I do think it makes sense, unfortunately.
It's too bad because it used to be a certain type of wrestler involved, and it was really fun, and now it's just nothing. Fandango's music hits. He comes out and then quickly has to tell us, I'm JDC from the system in TNA.
I think it's weird that he came out to the
Me
Fandango.
Too. Well, because I don't think there's no shot anyone recognizes anything else.
No, I get it, and it was cool, but then it was like, I don't know. That's why I think someone like Mustafa Ali is nice, because he keeps his name.
Yes. So he's there. He refers to King as having his face spray painted on. And then King is just kind of like, no, it's brushed on, actually. But anyways, they'll have a match next week. So King's back to being a heel. I feel like this was a really not impactful way to reveal it after, like, anticlimactic, really slow burn of this story. And then it's just like, no, I'm actually a heel, guys. And to add to my annoyance, he's like exactly the same kind of heel. I wanted him to be like, I'm Brian Pillman and I'm like a loose cannon, but now it's like, nope, I'm still the same.
So it begs the question, huh?
Right. So kind of anticlimactic. Like,
Also, is he technically a 2-time champion?
I was kind of finding him interesting, and now I'm like, this is disappointing. It's just like back to where he was, right? But anyways, Ridge Hollins beats Stacks pretty quickly with his Redeemer. Izzy Dame tried to get involved again, but Ridge saw her this time. 2 shots, too kind of short to have many opinions about. It was like 4 minutes or something. But there is something going on with the family. I didn't even make note of it, but there was like Tony D'Angelo's in some show on CW or something.
He did make an appearance.
And I think the implication is that he's too busy doing that to other things to support the family.
Oh, what was it?
Right now?
It was something.
But they played a whatever thing of it on the show. But anyways.
I'm gonna Google Tony D'Angelo.
Briggs and Inamura tell Fraxium that they would destroy them in a match. Fraxium are like, we've got a match with the Nemeths. We've got to deal with them. So why don't you guys go out and find opponents?
Wild cards. I don't know what that
Right,
is.
that's what it is. So I think the idea here is that Briggs and Inamura went separately and each found a match. So Briggs found challengers in Hank and Tank, and Inamura found challengers in No Quarter Catch Crew. So later on in the segment, Ava is like, well, we'll make that a triple threat. And Briggs and Inamura are fine with that because they're fighting baby faces who now have matching leather vests, so like it's all cohesive.
It's like when Dave Massive and Jack Stars did that.
Exactly, the feud over the vest. Zarya and Sol Ruka take on Gigi Dolan and Tatum Paxley in. So Corey Graves, man, I don't know if he listens to you or us, but he called her What's the pronunciation? I'm not.
Zarya.
No. Zarya is correct.
No.
Zarya, right?
Yeah, you said Zarya a lot. Zarya. Zarya.
Oh, Zarya. So he was saying Zarya twice and then corrects himself once. Gigi Dolan, like, she has some okay looking stuff, but she really moves really slowly. Something about this match was off. Even Graves after the finish said something about it like that it wasn't pretty, sort of thing. So Zarya catches Paxley coming off the top. F5s are on top of Dolan, looked pretty good. And then Soul Snatcher for the win. Again, only 4 minutes. Kind of seems like they're doing like a Fraxium adjacent thing. Like Zarya and Sol Ruka don't have good chemistry and are kind of not on the same page all the time.
It just seems like such a weird, like,
but the combination of power and athleticism keeps winning them matches even if they don't get along.
Yeah.
So I think that's maybe where we're at. Until obviously, hopefully, Zarya just turns monster and kills Sol Ruka would be what I would.
Yeah, I think NXT could do with a good monster heel, kind of like back when we had Baszler.
And it feels like they just don't know what to do with Zarya, or they don't want to do what they're going to do with her yet. So
yeah,
hopefully this works. Roxanne and Bailey in ring segment, and I've shortened this quite a bit. So basically Roxanne is like, Bailey only came to NXT because she's tired of getting her ass kicked on Raw and SmackDown. Bailey tells Perez that Perez is entitled. Bailey loves NXT and remembers setting up the ring with her bare hands. Remembers Dusty Rhodes teaching her how to hold a mic. Perez says she will win all of the titles. Julia comes out and says enough. Roxy's nothing without a title. Somewhere Perez says that when she leaves main roster, she's like, then finally maybe Cora Jade can win a title. So it's like taking shots at your allies even, which would play out. That's why I mentioned it. Charlotte comes out and I groan. She Cody's it up and says she respects Julia, but is better than her. She kind of gets some boos here as well. Cora attacks Bailey and Julia with her kendo stick. I wrote bat, but I assume it would be her kendo stick from behind. Cora and Roxy even stare each other down for a little bit, and Jade swings at Roxanne, but Roxanne ducks and leaves the ring.
I assume we're cutting that off because Perez is gone.
Cora poses with the title, and hits Bailey again.
I saw this funny. Someone posted that Cora Jade, aside from the original version, has held every version of the NXT Women's title without ever being champion. Like, you know how she
literally held it?
Yeah. Like, she held the black and silver one, she held the white rainbow one, and then this one.
Because she's not good enough, right? Like, I think they keep thinking she's going to get better and whatever, and she just hasn't.
Like, I think you could maybe write her off as a failed experiment. She's been here since.
I have.
She was there in the dying days of Black and Gold, and she was like a pet project of early 2.0, remember?
And then plateaued. Oh, because she's still
Remember
cute
when she
and
went
she's
around with
not like other girls. She has a skateboard
She
and
had
a
the penny
backwards
board
cap.
that she never rode. Remember she was doing the thing where she kept diving the War Games,
Yes.
the last NXT War Games?
Yes.
And she was like the focal point, and we hated it.
She's edgy and wears a hat backwards and carries a skateboard. Awesome.
Also, when Dakota Kai was insane for some reason.
So I guess we were supposed to, like, there's a chance Charlotte will choose the NXT title after winning the Rumble. Okay.
That's a mistake they won't.
So I don't think there's any need for her to be here. I am enjoying the Bayley Perez stuff. And I told you I read somewhere that Perez has been ready for main roster for a while, but they actually wanted to have something substantial for her.
That's good.
So I think a lengthy program with Bayley.
I think it's going to be like kind of, like it starts when she's in NXT, but it's going to like bridge the gap to main
and
roster.
Where she comes out on the winning end of it, I would hope too.
I could maybe see it being a Mania match. I mean, I
do too.
It, but like.
I think so. You got 2 nights to fill.
That's true.
Right. Bayley later demands a match with Cora Jade and gets it for next week. Ava makes Evans Page official for Vengeance Day, as long as Javon Evans is quote unquote cleared. And again, well-built feud. I'm looking forward to that match. It could deliver to you.
Now he doesn't have any allies.
That's right. Aggressive Kalani Jordan taking on Carmen Petrovich. She had Ashante with her. Kalani wins. She hits a actually pretty cool looking like angle slamish type of thing. 2 over the moonsaults, I think, or whatever she calls it. As she's kind of staring down Jada Parker, who came down, put on a headset, and just stood in front of commentary, basically. So she applies a choke, wins the match with the choke, refuses to release after the bell. The decision is reversed.
Yeah, I saw some clip yapping about how, oh my God, she's gone so far.
Yeah. I'm okay with trying something new with her. So the Kalani turn, I think, obviously continues here. She's now hitting multiple finishers when she doesn't need to, refusing to release holds while staring down Jada Parker. Jada just looks so cool standing there, like, kind of whatever, do your thing. So obviously that's what we're getting. The main event is a tag team match. Trick, Oba Femi taking on Waller and Theory. So this is the story of Oba and Trick. Can they coexist? And a lot of them just blind tagging each other pretty much for the whole match. I don't know if there was a legitimate tag or not. Anyways, doesn't matter. Trick dominates early, keeps staring down his own partner, Oba Femi. Trick and Oba, multiple blind tags. Oba even trips Trick from the floor, pulls him out at one point to argue with him, allowing Waller to dive onto them to sort of shift the momentum towards the heels. Waller, I thought, looked pretty good here, dominating Trick. We get a Femi hot tag. Oba dominates. Trick makes another blind tag. Oba and Theory tumble to the floor. And then good old Eddie Thorpe shows up to hit Trick in the leg with the leather strap that he just carries around now suddenly. Waller hits what's his rolling cutter or whatever it is that he hits.
I think it was a flatliner this time, but usually does the center.
Thorpe beats down Trick after, whips him with the strap repeatedly while Femi does nothing to help and leaves. Thorpe holds the strap high to end the show. So Waller and Theory got the win here, which makes sense because
you do Thorpe and Trick in a strap match since Thorpe lost his underground stipulation.
And then you've got Oba is taking on both of Theory and Waller in a triple threat. So we've got, honestly, if this is Vengeance Day, the card is not looking great to me at this point because neither of those 2 matches really interest me.
Triple threat, probably strap match. You got Perez, Bayley, Julia, then Javon and Page.
Right,
and
so Javon Page.
There's no Praxium
I'm most interested in. Well, hopefully by then. When is Vengeance Day?
I don't know.
Hopefully we can get them on the card. But anyways, the show ends again. Apparently,
I up against Grand Slam maybe.
So I didn't see it. I don't know if I didn't get it on Netflix or if I just stopped watching before.
Yeah, it's on the same day as, so it's next week. It's the same day as Aussie.
Interesting. So I went back and saw it. Remember, it was the test pattern last week with people coming at Vengeance Day. Have you seen anything about this?
I've seen the shot. I could even tell you
silhouettes. I know who
supposedly it is.
I know. So Saquon Sugars, Cutler James.
I've heard that name.
Dion Lennox.
Well, obviously.
And Keanu Carver.
Keanu Carver was in the breakout tournament. He's the dude who I thought looked like Oba.
So
Cutler James.
That's a whole lot of nothing, though.
It is.
Right? There's not even one established. You can't tell me. You can't call Dion Lennox established. I don't think that's fair. So I don't know.
Cutler James, okay, I've seen him on Level Up.
I mean, maybe it's cool.
Wholly generic Batman.
I know. I saw pictures of them all, too.
Keanu Carver, though. I remember him looking like...
So do you have anything from SmackDown? I did not watch TNA.
I did not. Yeah, Keanu Carver, he looks like Mims from NWA.
Big strong Mims?
Yeah.
or whatever his name is, something like that.
That is the guy.
Yeah. All right, so I think that's going to wrap up episode 238. You've got to get to work. I've got a little bit of time before another basketball game, and then I think it's the Superb Owl tomorrow.
Yeah.
Even though your brother has up to 4 games tomorrow if they keep winning. Scheduled on the Superb Owl Day, so that's not great for me. But
I'll work
anyways, thanks for joining us for 238. We'll be back here next Saturday for 239. And until then, everybody, take care.